All right, everybody, here we go. Today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
I know.
2026. My name is Robb Carter. Welcome to the future. Number one podcast/radio show in America. Good morning, Isaiah.
Good morning. Wake up, America.
Going to be a great weekend. I'm telling you what, I am sleeping like a baby. My wife is, I think it's because
Was your wife gone?
My wife is gone, and I have the whole bed to myself. We got this king-size bed, and I'm long. You know what I mean? I'm 6'1", and I got long arms.
I know what you mean.
And I am just crawling all over that bed, and I don't like to beat up on my wife because I got sharp elbows, so I got to be very careful when I'm dancing around the bed at night when I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
So now that I can stretch out all over that bed, I am, sorry, honey, but man, comfortable. So today we are going to talk about MKUltra. It's something that I'd love to talk about every now and again, bring it back to people's attention. Because I've talked to so many people through the years, Isaiah, who don't believe that it's real. They don't believe that you can actually hijack the mind of a human being. And I certainly am skeptical, to be honest with you. But research has, I should say, it's led me to believe that it is a real thing. And I don't think many people know the history of it. It kind of spurs or takes shape after the Korean War.
Yeah.
And there's a clip from the BBC. I know a lot of people think BBC is, fake news, but when they talk about the origins of MKUltra and mind control, I tried to find the shortest, most concise, and something that I had recollection of to where I understood what they were saying. And I thought BBC did the best job of it. It's a little 7-minute clip. We'll play that here in just a minute. But there's so many people involved in the MKUltra experiments. You start through the 60s. So it actually starts in the 50s. It goes through the 60s. Then you have the church hearings in the 70s. But with the rearview mirror, right? You look back into time, Isaiah. There's a lot of people that were involved with MKUltra and a guy named Jolly West. I'll tell you how this all started. So Jolly West, the reason I'm aware of him primarily is because of Tom O'Neill's book Chaos. It's about Charles Manson, the CIA, and MKUltra, and he lays out this scenario where he believes that Charles Manson was taught how to conduct MKUltra experiments in the prisons in California because they were apparently experimenting on prisoners in California back in the 50s and 60s. And he was a young guy. His mother was a prostitute, Charles Manson. And he ended up with petty theft and crime from the age he was 16. And he just spent time in prison from like 16 until he was 32. I think he'd spent half his life in prison.
Wasn't it at a like a mental health center too in San Francisco?
Yeah, there was a story behind that where it was his parole officer was had an office next to Jolly West in San Francisco at the time.
Okay.
And Charles Manson had to go get his evaluations from his parole officer, and they story goes that he would always have these girls with him that just like you see in the movies, right, where they're behaving however Charles Manson wants them to behave. If he wants them to sit down on the floor Indian style, they sit down on the floor Indian style. And there's accounts of people that saw it back in those days, and they said they couldn't believe it because Charles Manson's 5'4", 120 pounds, long. He's a hippie. Just not a very clean guy, not a very well kept guy. But these girls were in lockstep with whatever he was telling them to do. And a lot of people who saw it firsthand, especially back in those days that you're talking about in San Francisco, they thought it was just the most bizarre thing they'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the guy that was what was the name of the movie? It was a TV show where the guy was he was a teacher, then he started selling drugs. You know what I'm talking about? It was a big show. I can't think.
Mm.
This I didn't watch it. That's why I don't remember.
Kindergarten Cop? No, I'm just joking.
Bryan Cranston was the star in it, and
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bryan Cranston was just talking about
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And Bryan Cranston was telling a story on an interview that I was preparing for the show, and I was going through all of the information, and he saw Charles Manson. He said he was 12 years old, and they used to go to the ranch where Charles Manson had his family, and they would do horseback riding because that's how the family made money, is they would do these horseback riding tours.
Yeah.
Good morning, Hemp Freedom. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Elaine. Good morning, Bluegrass. What is that? Bluegrass?
Bluegrass.
Isabel.
Camaroa Dam.
Eyes are getting worse. I'm gonna eventually have to get glasses. There's just no doubt about it.
I
I don't want to do it. I'm resisting.
We're pushing for LASIK.
LASIK something. Good morning, Cheryl.
Unless glasses do make people look wiser. So
that's not going to help me. Bryan Cranston says that he was horseback riding tour where Charles Manson was at, and he said, "Charles is on the hill. Charles is on the hill." They were all screaming. He said it was like freaked out. He was like 12 years old.
Really?
But then they go, so Charles Manson was off. Everybody goes running on their horses to meet with Charles Manson. Apparently, he said he was a kid. He just remembers it because it was so strange. He said as he's coming back down the trail, he sees Charles Manson. He said he just had dead black eyes, and he said he'll never forget it. He was like 12 years old. Good morning, Kurt. Good morning, Charlie. But the story just fascinates me because if it is a technology that's possible, you would think through technology it would be even more possible to get people to do things you want them to do, right?
Yeah.
And
I was reading some crazy stuff last night.
Did you look into it last night too?
Oh yeah, I had to prep, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As everyone knows, we spend about 6 hours in the mornings on the show because we do 3 hours on the show, and we're probably, 3 hours?
I prep from 6 in the morning until we start. So
yeah,
for me in Florida, it's 4 hours. It's 3 hours when I come to St. Louis, but I prep for 4 hours, and then we do the show for 3 or 4 hours. So you're 8 hours there, and then you got to think of all the time that we spend.
Oh, maybe we get like an hour and a half break, and then we're texting each other.
Yeah, we're researching, and talking about it all day long. And this is a story that has just fascinated me. So let me.
What I was going to say is that I guess the intelligence agencies have their own Wikipedia called Intellipedia, and some of those documents have been declassified now from the Intellipedia information about MKUltra. And so I used Grok, and I said, "Hey, Grok, I was asking it to find me some videos, like what are some, it pulled a BBC video, for example, right? I was looking, okay, what are some declassified documents or CIA documents?" And a really interesting document. I'll try to find it during the show, but it was an Intellipedia is what it said. And then I looked in Intellipedia, tried to go to it website. It's like, this is a government website. You have to have all these certificates and everything. It's like, oh, okay. Certificates are just like something on the computer that would like verify that I'm authorized to be on that website. Not like a certificate saying I'm
authorized.
No, not authorized. Right.
Just checking.
But it's got all the information on and explaining what the MKUltra project is.
Let me read it. Let me read
it. It's very, very, very eye-opening, I think, because when I lived in San Francisco for a year. I think I told you that, Rob.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned a lot about this because I lived on Haight Street, and I could look out my door and I could see Haight-Ashbury up at the top of the hill.
That's the corner where all the hippies hung out back in the 60s.
Yep. And so that's where they also think a lot of this movement. The mind control stuff happened right up there. There's a medical center up there, I think, near those offices that you're talking about. That a lot of this stuff they say allegedly went down.
Right. Let me read this off of Grok because I said, "What is the premise of MKUltra?" And it says MKUltra, often stylized as MKUltra, was a real covert CIA program focused on mind control and behavioral modification through unethical human experimentation. It says the core premise, the program's central goal was to develop techniques and substances that could I'll just bullet point it, force confessions or extract reliable information from resistant enemies, so interrogations, program or reprogram individuals to act against their will, including assassination or sabotage, create Manchurian candidates. That's the one I'm really interested in because Sirhan, who was charged with the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy, he says that he has no recollection of it. He was not angry with the Kennedys. He had no ill will toward the Kennedys. Later on, we find out that Sirhan, although he did shoot at Robert F. Kennedy. He was not the one who killed him. He was killed by a Secret Service agent who was behind him. And even Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now admits that Sirhan is an innocent man. But we'll play a clip from Sirhan here in just a bit. He has no recollection of it from day one. From the time he was arrested until now, he says he has no recollection of even doing it at all. And he says, I don't even know what's going on around here, basically. This is the premise of MKUltra. Disrupt or control human behavior, consciousness, and free will using drugs, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, electroshock, psychological torture, and other methods. So there's another one called Project Monarch, Isaiah.
Oh, yeah.
Project Monarch is the idea that you can control the mind of young people. So imagine if you're trafficking kids, there's no birth certificate, there's no understanding of who they are, and you're trying to build a little army for yourself. The idea of Monarch, if it was in the right hands, and if it works, I'm not saying it works, I'm just saying this is the theory behind it. The theory behind Project Monarch is that you sexually torture a child between the ages of 1 and 7. And because the torture is so traumatic to a child, they can't deal with it. They can't turn it off. They can't deal with it. So their mind fractures. And when their mind fractures, it splits up. And I don't know the mind that well, but apparently there's different places in your mind where you can have multiple different personalities, to where if through some kind of trigger, you can go into another personality, that personality will know everybody else in your head, like they're friends of yours, right? But they will behave a completely different way, right? So you'll have, I could act like 7 different people as one. You ever see the movie Sybil when you were a kid, Isaiah?
Sounds very, very familiar.
Sybil is the one with multiple personalities. That's the one that brought it to mainstream. It was a
okay. Yeah, I think I have seen that.
Called Sybil. So Project Monarch is the idea that you take kids at a very young age, sexually torture them between the ages of 1 and 7. Their mind fractures, and then through drugs and the proper techniques, you can control this person, right? So you can kind of build a Manchurian candidate if you want. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I want to start. Let me try reading more of this. Let me get just a little.
Yeah. Do you want me to give you my notes that I took last night about the history of MKUltra?
Sure, go ahead.
This was because I just went back and I just kept going further and further back, because we think of, I mean, at least I do. I don't know about you, but maybe my generation, because we didn't live it. When I think of MKUltra, I think of the 60s. I think of the love movement and things like that, right? Because of LSD mainly, and its wide usage. But it actually started, from what all my research said, is that it started actually with the Nazi scientists. So with their
that's where the name comes from, MK.
Yeah. So they
started. K is for German, right? Mind control.
Yep. And they were doing all these experiments on all these different people, Jewish people, gypsies, all these different people doing all these experiments, right? And brainwashing and things like that. Well, then you have Operation Paperclip, right? Which, if you don't know what Operation Paperclip is, that was the covert operation to bring Nazi scientists over to America. Even after they got prosecuted with war crimes, they were brought over to America to work within NASA. And that's where the birth of the first project, operation, comes into Project Chatter and Project Bluebird, are what they're called.
Bluebird's the other one. Correct.
Yeah, and so those were what they morphed into from Paperclip, essentially rolled into these. And then the purpose of that was to study mind control, interrogation, behavior modification, and other topics, it says. And this all coalesced up into MKUltra eventually. And
think about it, Isaiah, because you're talking about the Operation Paperclip. So you bring Nazi scientists over. Nazis were they were great with propaganda. That's the whole, like I said, I learned propaganda from about the Nazis and propaganda when I was in 4th grade. It's just so fascinating to me when I look back on it, because that was the first time it caught my attention as to how, I think I've told the story before. I'm back in the projector days. I'm in 4th grade, and they're showing, I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it must have been right after, because I'm thinking 10 years old, the Department of Education came in 1980. So this would have been 1980, 81. So this is right after the Department of Education comes in, and we start getting the brainwashing that we have now. So in 4th grade in those days, I remember watching it on the projector, and we were talking about the Holocaust. I mean, learning about the Holocaust in 4th grade. And they are showing bulldozers taking Jewish bodies that are naked and, skinny and, terrible. You're right. The deprivation is just
something you don't want to see as a 10-year-old, really.
Not in retrospect. Yeah. Because it made a very big mark on me. and they're bulldozing them into ditches, and then obviously they were going to
Yeah,
bury them
covering
in
the ditch. Yep.
mass graves kind of thing.
Yep.
And I was so fascinated by that. I had a teacher, Miss Moore, and I said, "How in the world would humans do this?" I didn't even say if I said humans, I just didn't understand how you could get into that. Were these bad people? What was the story? What was going on? And she started to explain, how propaganda worked.
Yep.
And it so caught my attention that I paid attention to it from that point forward. That's why I was so invested in Charles Manson when I was in high school. I wrote multiple papers on
Mm.
Charles Manson when I was in high school
Wow.
because my brain could not understand how anybody could be that evil.
Mm.
I just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Just when you're a kid, it takes it's tough to try to figure all of this out.
Yeah.
But in studying it over the years, and then really looking into it, I was going to talk about it earlier. This book between Tom O'Neill wrote about Charles Manson and the MKUltra movement. Um, he it certainly appears that Charles Manson, who had no formal education, had the ability to brainwash people. And I don't know how you can do that unless it's being taught in the prisons, which is the story as it goes. It was being taught in prisons. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Angie.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the intelligence agencies and even just the police forces, they recruit confidential informants, from these systems, from these career criminals, or from these people that are going in and out and don't want to go back to jail. And okay, if you give us this information or you help us with this, we can get you out, or
Right.
vice versa. All these
Well, it
different
makes
things.
sense if you're in a war, if you can have a human robot, basically, 'cause it needs to
Exactly.
be a human robot,
Yeah.
right? Which is what they want now. They want robots. That's why I keep telling people, you have to understand how your government works. Your government has done some very evil things. The Tuskegee experiment, COVID, continual war. You know what I mean? I could go on and on. Slavery. We had
Mhm.
slavery in this country for a long time. So we have evil roots. It's a wonderful country. Don't get me wrong. I
Mhm.
don't want to sound unpatriotic, but there are evil roots within this country. And if it manifests itself into positions of power in our government and our intelligence agencies, and then you give them ultimate power with flock cameras and endless spying, war, ability to spy on the American citizens, AI data centers to collect it all. That's why I'm going to tie this story
Yeah.
together with MK Ultra and AI data centers before we finish, because I just think people don't know what's going on in the world. They just don't know. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
know this information. Did you know this information up until recently? Is it something that you studied when you were in high school or college that you were aware of?
The MKUltra stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, super. Yeah, I've studied conspiracies for a long time. I think my mom was a big influence on me in a positive way of just always reading and searching things out. And she was always interested in this stuff. And I mean, every time we would go somewhere, Rob, she would buy 3 biographies of someone, you know?
That was me when I was a
Yeah.
kid. I loved
And
to
so
read.
like, maybe some CIA agent or some president or something like that, she'd be buying or a wife of a president, right? She'd be buying some biography. Even people she didn't agree with. I think she bought Michelle Obama's biography and things like that,
I
right?
did it
So
too.
yeah,
I used to buy
she was
Democrats.
just always reading and consuming this content about all these different things. And I think I've told you this before, growing up, you're like, oh yeah, sure, sure, mom. Yeah, okay. And so you don't I didn't want to believe that that's how bad the government was, or that's how bad technology could be, right? I
And I don't
didn't
think
want
people
to
see it that
believe
way,
it.
Isaiah. I don't think
Yeah.
people see the government as an evil entity. I see it as an evil entity
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
this is what I was going to say. If you're a Christian out there, if you believe in the Bible, right? The Bible doesn't say the government is evil, but it says that all are evil, actually.
Mhm.
It says in Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So if all have fallen short and we've all sinned, and the Bible teaches us, Rob, that as soon as you're born into sin. So there's nothing that you can do about it, right? Only Jesus can save you from that sin. So if we're born into a world that's a sinful world, that's a fallen world, is language that the church likes to use, is a fallen world, because that's the fall of man that happened in the Garden of Eden. So if we live in this fallen world, why would the government be perfect? That's what I like to ask people.
Well, you would expect it to be corrupt, right? Because that's
Exactly.
so many billions and trillions of dollars running through their
That's my
fingers.
point. Is
But
the
but
Bible's
but I
telling us that.
Right, but I don't think people recognize it as evil.
Mhm.
Evil. Like, it's like the Gaza thing. People in this country, we haven't seen these types of things happen. So
Yeah.
for us, it's like watching a movie. Myself included, I'm not different than anybody else. For us, it's something that's happening over there. And, we can't really empathize with these people because they're structured as our enemy. And I always think to myself, How crazy is it that you're dropping bombs on civilians in Gaza and the American people? I would think the majority of American people either don't think anything of it, don't care.
Yep.
It's so far away who, those are bad people. Look what Hamas did to Israel. And, you're killing 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people with big giant bombs, killing men, women, children, grandmothers, brothers, sisters, fathers. It's crazy, but it shows you that your mind can be controlled to a degree because under normal circumstances, if a human being were to see that, Isaiah, if you were up close and personal and got to see that, it would so traumatize you, it would change your perception of the world in general. But if you watch it on television, it's no different than if you're watching a movie, right? If you're watching news doesn't affect you and it's a far away place and this and that and the other, that's no different than watching a movie where there's violence or this or that and the other. It's coming to you through the same manner. Therefore, it's not you can merge the two in your own mind. Does that make sense? You merge reality with television and with movies, and you kind of merge.
Perception is reality.
Yes. Let me just get a little bit more of this.
Like and share before we get too far in. We're 30 minutes in.
Let me read this and then we'll do People's Lobby Missouri.
It was smart.
So it says if it operated, this is MKUltra, it operated under the premise that the human mind could be broken down, manipulated, and rebuilt like a machine, essentially treating people as programmable assets in the context of Cold War espionage against the Soviet Union, China, and other adversaries. Here's the time frame. Officially ran from 1953 to 1973. Some related work continued afterward. The scope, it involved over 150 sub-projects at universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies across the U.S., Canada, and Europe. Many experiments were conducted on unwitting American and Canadian citizens. Notable methods, LSD. Ever try LSD, Isaiah? Ever get into LSD?
I think one time someone gave it to me when I was 20 years old, I think.
How did you react to it?
I don't really even remember. I don't think I even had a reaction because I was like too afraid of drugs. And so I was just like, oh, don't really give me anything, basically.
Is LSD acid? Is that what it is? When
Yeah. And they gave me a little piece of paper. So it was like a little piece of paper or something.
Tongue on it or something.
But it was like, they were like, oh, this is like a dose is what they called it. And I was like, well, no, give me like whatever, like a sliver of a piece of paper. Cause I was always afraid.
Right. I've never done LSD. I've never done
my
acid, but I had a buddy that used to do it all the time. And I will say this, although
I do know someone that's done it a lot and they're fried.
He's not fried at all. He's still sharp, but it's interesting because because you might be listening, so I got to do this properly. He was a little bit of a wild child when he was young, but he also figured out life very, very quickly. I mean, by the time we were 17, 18, 19 years old, the stuff we're talking about today, he was talking about in the late 80s and trying to convince me that the world, as I understood it, was just a figment of my imagination all the way back into the late 80s. But he was a kid that was doing acid when we were in high school. Goes on to say, LSD and other hallucinogens administered secretly, like in drinks, at parties, or through CIA-operated safe houses in New York and San Francisco. Let me see where. Yeah, San Francisco. This printed on 2 pages. Hang on here. It says the hypnosis, verbal, sexual abuse, sleep deprivation, and high-dose convulsive therapy. Attempts to include amnesia, false memories, or dissociative states, and it goes on and on from there. The program was exposed in the mid-'70s through congressional investigations, church committee, and a Rockefeller Commission. After the destruction of most official records was ordered in 1973 by CIA Director Richard Helms, surviving documents were released via FOIA request in later decades. And I don't know if you know this, but Maria Paulina Luna, she's talking about having an MKUltra hearing right now in Congress. They're talking about having an MKUltra hearing.
Yeah.
And
they've had many of them over the years after looking into this. I mean, we had the church, is it Church or Churchill? I can't remember off the top of my head. The church hearings. That was in the 70s, I believe.
Yeah, early to mid 70s.
And then in the 90s, I guess they had some MKUltra hearings as well.
Did they? Well, Kathy O'Brien, we'll talk about Kathy O'Brien today too. So Kathy O'Brien is probably the most famous because she said she was a sex slave. She said that her father was a pedophile, that her father was making money on the side by selling pornographic material. He sent it through the mail. The FBI picks it up. The FBI says, they pick him up, arrest him, and they basically tell him that he has two choices. He can turn his daughter over to the military MKUltra experiments, or they're going to arrest him. So he turns her over to them. And she says she becomes a sex slave for the rich and powerful for up until the age of 30. He wrote a book called Transformation of America. Fascinating stuff. If it's true, it's one of the most fascinating stories you'll ever hear. Because
I mean,
it'll blow your mind.
Crazy thing is that she said this years ago. People couldn't believe it, and then now we have the Epstein files.
Exactly.
And
Well, she said it, and then you have Paul Benassi, who we've talked about before. You have the Epstein files. You have all kinds of stuff going on in the 60s when MKUltra was really happening. You've got Sirhan, right? You've got Jack Ruby. These were all people that were studied. The court-appointed psychologist for them was a guy named Jolly West. Nobody knew that Jolly West was involved with MKUltra experiments until Tom O'Neill wrote his book Chaos about Charles Manson. He said that he wanted to study Jolly West's papers. And the college, he was working at UCLA, and the college said, sure, if you want to come look at all of his material, it's down in the basement. So he goes, he said, there's just boxes and boxes of information. And he starts looking through all of Jolly West's information because he's thinking he's going to get something from Manson. I guess I can't remember how the story originates, but he said through there, he sees information going back, letters going back and forth between Jolly West and Sid Gottlieb. Sid Gottlieb ran the MKUltra experiments, and in one of the letters that's going back between the two, Jolly West writes to Sid Gottlieb that they have perfected the procedures for hijacking the mind. That he could put memories into the head that didn't exist and take out memories that did exist. So he could take out that memory, or he could put in a memory that never existed. Like, for example, if I want to put into your brain that I'm Santa Claus, I can actually plant that into your head. So every time you see me, you go, Santa, right?
Yeah.
He can plant that memory in your head. Or if I was Santa Claus at a party or something when you were a kid and you recognize me as Santa Claus, he could take that memory out of your head and you'd never have that memory again. This is what a letter, this is like in the late 60s, a letter that's going from Jolly West to Sid Gottlieb. And then you go, okay, well, now Sid Gottlieb and Jolly West are involved in the MKUltra experiments. And then you find out that Jolly West worked on these cases. Do you know the story of Patty Hearst?
Sounds very familiar.
All right,
I'm sure I'm familiar with it just from, I know all about Jolly West and the Haight-Ashbury stuff and everything like that. So
well, these are crazy stories because he was involved in these particular situations. Patty Hearst, Sirhan, Jack Ruby, Charles Manson, and there's others that are speculative, so I don't want to go there. But these are the ones that are now known that he was court-appointed psychologist for these people. And then you throw Manson into the equation, and you're like, oh, what happened with Manson? He says that Manson, Isaiah, the reason they used Manson to slaughter, is the Tate LaBianca murders. But the reason that they did that is they wanted to stop the free love movement, and they tied the hippie movement, which was go live off the grid. Kind of what people are doing right now. Do you know people in your life right now, Isaiah, that want to get off the grid? They want to go buy rural farmland, and they just want to be left alone. They want the government off their back. They're going to buy a plot of land, and they're going to be done with it, right?
Oh yeah.
So that was a big movement back in that era. That was the hippie movement, was to get off the grid, not deal with the man, not deal with the government, and get off the grid. And it was becoming so popular in certain segments of our society that the CIA said we have to stop it. They used Charles Manson to create these horrific crimes, with the blood written phrases on the wall, helter skelter, the whole thing. And then they used that story to scare everybody away from drugs, LSD, the hippie movement, going rural, and they just painted that whole movement as evil, right? And he said that was a planned, and the hippie movement did end after that, Isaiah. That's what's so crazy, is if that was the reason they did it, it worked.
Well, yeah, the war on drugs that came later too, right?
That was under Reagan. Who, oddly enough, that is another person, according to Kathy O'Brien, that was involved.
Yeah.
Said that Ronald Reagan and the Bushes, all of them were involved in the MKUltra situation. And she said that actually Ronald Reagan, who was the governor of California at that time, she said he was the one that authorized the MKUltra experiments in the California prisons. Huh? A little crazy. All right. Let's do People's Lobby. Let's get the show off and running.
Let's do it. What's crazy to me is that
warm up is 38 minutes long. Isn't that something?
I know. Yeah. What's crazy to me is that Cindy Gottlieb and Jolly West are both Jewish.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't
Well, I
know
already
that.
knew Cindy Gottlieb was Jewish because Gottlieb is a very Jewish name. I
Yeah,
don't know if
but
you
I
know that.
didn't know, Jolly
Jolly
West
West,
was.
yeah, he was born to Ukrainian Jewish parents.
Wow, we learn
Yeah,
something
and
every day.
so which makes sense just because of
The chosen people.
If you know Jewish history and like back in the 1800s and all those people and the Jewish Enlightenment that happened and where like why the Nazis were burning a lot of the books was a lot of like transgender and things like that was happening in Germany. And so these ideologies are what shifted into kind of American culture, are these progressive liberal ideologies. And that's typically what these guys are trying to push. And it does say, I did find that Jolly West was a big supporter of the civil rights movement, for example. And so,
Sure.
yeah, super,
Well, that
super
was to
interesting.
divide everybody, if you remember. That was the whole point of the civil rights movement. You think you're getting civil rights, but what you're really doing is pitting everybody against one another, which is
Yes.
kinda what they've been doing for a long time. Maybe
Yep.
forever, I don't know, I can only go for the
Oh
last
yeah,
50
it
years.
changes. It's who, they create more now my neighbor's the enemy, right?
Right. It's just, always somebody's always the boogeyman in this world. It's the craziest thing. Alright, peopleslobbymo.com, again, the proud sponsor of the Rob Carter Show. If you have not signed up yet, we beg of you to do so. If you can donate, wonderful. People's Lobby, Missouri. I haven't even checked the money. I won't check it for a couple weeks, but we'll check what kind of money is in there. But we have had some nice donations lately. Appreciate that very
Thank
much.
you guys.
Small donations, that is the key. A lot of people don't want to sign up. I had a buddy of mine call me yesterday. He said, I want to help. He goes, but I don't like to. We're very secure. He didn't want to use his credit card and didn't want to have, this credit card attached. Very
Yep.
secure. We use Stripe. It's very secure.
Safe and secure.
Safe and secure. So if you are somebody who wants to donate money, if you can't afford it, obviously don't get involved. But if you can, $5-10 a month, that's what we're looking for. As many donations as possible, small donations, so nobody kind of runs the show here. It's just a group of people trying to move the ball in the right direction. And we focus on taxes, elections, and accountability. It's T, taxes, elections, accountability. T, taxes, elections, accountability. And we get things done. We're a little bit different. We fight hard. We fight dirty. We fight hard. We fight just as much as the politicians do. We fight against their narratives. We challenge them on social media. Everywhere they go, we challenge them. I mean, you could say we're causing trouble just a little bit, Isaiah, right? But we do cause trouble. We cause people to come out and show their ass, if you will, right? And let us see who they are and have conversations with them. And eventually people are going to see what's going on. That's it.
Yep.
They
Yep.
like it and everything's fine. And the economy is good enough for them and they enjoy their lives enough, then nothing's going to go down. If ever this turns in the wrong direction, which I feel it's slipping that way, people are going to be aware, they're going to be angry, and the politicians, they're not going to be in a good position if they don't get back in line with the Constitution. So peopleslobbymo.com, peopleslobbymo.com. Sign up, join us. Join us if you just want to help. Join us if you want to donate. Any kind of help would be greatly appreciated. We need you to make this all work. There is no doubt about that. We cannot and will not have the opportunity to do it on our own. It does take some funding. We don't need millions, but we do need some. All right. Let's start. Let's get this baby started with mind control. And I want to do it with clip number 1. This is a long clip, so we might break it up just a little bit, Isaiah, but this is from the BBC, and it is the history of mind control, just a little 7-minute video. We'll break it up throughout. We'll break it up as we go along here. But this will
That's
give
funny.
people
I
just a
watched this
foundation.
last night. It's so funny that you picked this clip up.
I just looked for the shortest, most concise. I
Yeah.
didn't want to play a 20-minute clip, and I thought this was great. Now we'll play some clips of Kathy O'Brien here in just a bit.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, like and share. We need you to like and share, especially with the MKUltra episode. Sorry, I forgot to do that.
like I thought we said like and share earlier.
No, we didn't.
Uh,
Yeah.
this is from Kurt. He says, "Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable." JFK, absolutely.
Mhm.
All right, let's play this. This is the
Yeah.
BBC. Very short and concise, I think, in how the whole thing began and up until today. So here is the BBC's
Yes.
version of the history
Well,
of
first,
mind
like
control.
and share the video. We gotta call it out. We gotta do it, Rob. Sorry. We have to tell them like and share the video, leave a comment, start commenting in the chat. That's the only way that we're going to be able to get this to reach more people. And if we don't do it, if we don't do it every day, then we're just going to get less and less viewers. So we have to do it every single day. We gotta like the video, we gotta comment on the video, we gotta share the video. Every video is a new day for us. Unfortunately, that's how content works. And so we have a little bit of rollover when we get more followers, but it really depends on how much people are engaging with this content right now. is how many people will see this content. So if you're on X, you need to like it, repost it. If you're on Facebook, you need to like it, share it with some friends, share it into a group, comment on there. And on Rumble and YouTube, not only engage in the live chat, but we need you to leave comments on the videos. I don't see a lot of comments on the videos themselves. I see a lot of engagement in the live chat, but we need more comments on the videos, because after we're done going live, that's how the social media platforms are going to start recommending it to people more and more often. And so that's why it's so important. Sorry to interrupt the show, but it's extremely important. If we don't do this, we won't be able to grow the show. We won't be able to keep getting more advertisers and keep bringing you guys this content. But this is how we can reach more people, get more people in here. Because once we start getting $5 donations and we have 10,000 people in here, that's a lot better than, $5 donations when we only have
That's when we
3,000 people in here, right? And so that's the goal where we're going towards. I know some people might get sick of it. I know Rob gets sick of it, but it's very important.
I do.
The show will fail if we don't do this. I'm telling you guys this 100%. It will fail if you guys don't engage, if you're not liking, if you're not sharing. The show will ultimately fail because of that. And so there's no way to get this unless you want us to take money from someone. That's the only other way. And we don't want to do that. And so unless you want us to, go to AFP. You want us to go.
Political investors, which is
so this keeps us independent. That's why it's so important. And you guys are just as much a part of the show as we are a part of the show, because we rely on you guys as the ant army. Is like
we see it as a community.
Right? Exactly.
That was the whole point. That's we've been talking about that from the very get-go. We see this as a community. We think that everybody that listens is a part of what we're trying to get accomplished. We give you the what's the word for it? I guess the mic. We have the mic to get the information out.
Yes.
Susan Elizabeth Zimmer says, when you suggested we watch Enjoy the Show, have you seen Enjoy the Show, Isaiah? You should watch Enjoy the Show.
That sounds so familiar too. Where is that on?
It'll blow your mind about how Hollywood and the government and
no, that sounds so familiar.
Well, it really kind of lays out how you're brainwashed through through Hollywood and through Washington D.C. combining together.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's like the documentary I told you about. They sold their souls for rock and roll. It's very, very, very similar. Someone told me they watched that video and they forgot that they had seen it. I can't remember who I was talking to. I was talking to someone on the phone. I can't remember if it was Rick or maybe John. But they were like, "Oh my gosh, Isaiah, I saw that documentary when you were talking about it. I forgot that I'd seen that." But yeah, it's crazy. And this is where I learned a lot about this MKUltra stuff, is when my mom made me watch that documentary when I was playing electric guitar, because it's from the devil. Yeah. And so, which they've changed a lot. Do you
believe it, Isaiah?
What'd you say?
You believe it? Do you believe that that you can through different methods, through drugs and repetition and hypnotism, that you can go in and plant memories and take out memories into somebody's mind? Do you believe that?
Oh yeah.
People don't believe it.
I think what we think of planting memories and taking memories out, we think of like the sci-fi movies where they're like doing operations and they're like putting these memories in, like a physical thing. And I don't think that's what it is. I think it's programmable messaging that gets through to people, right?
Where can we post these? Because that's another thing. When I was on the radio,
you can like the live stream right now. So if you are watching the live stream in your live chat, right, there's like buttons, there's heart buttons. Click those buttons right there. After we're done going live, or if you just go to Robb's feed right now and you're scrolling his feed, the live stream will just show up as a post there, and you can just like the post as well.
Right. And then the real, I guess, because Debbie's an advertiser, I think the advertisers, you're going to see a lot more action when we get to the middle of this month, when we get the videos cut.
On Facebook specifically, yeah.
On Facebook, especially local advertisers, right? Because what we can do then is we can clip something for a minute, and we can boost it. We can boost it if it's going to get a normal video for us gets anywhere from, it just depends on when I post it or how
we won't even have to boost these. I'll show you.
Yeah, you can get anywhere from 600 to 20,000. It just depends on what you're doing. But if we decide to boost it, what we can do is we can boost it and we can target it. So if you do business in a certain area, we can target that area, we can boost it, and we can throw all your advertisement in there. So it'd be a 2-minute video of the show, and then we'll promote you either on the video or in the comments, and just tell people, go into the comments, this is sponsored by Debbie Genus. She is our realtor for the Robb Carter Show. And that's how you get it out, your name out to more and more and more people, so they recognize your name. That's the premise of how we get it done.
And so these are, oops, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. These are some reels on Robb's page here.
It's not me in the middle, by the way.
This is Tim Baker.
Yeah.
And you can see this one got, this is a good, so this is a good clip. That's why I sent it to you, remember?
Yep.
This one got 11,000 views already.
Right.
And so
you see how the other ones are.
These are the types of clips that we're going to be getting out more and more. We are trying to get them. Robb's got limited time, and he's the only one with access to his Facebook right now. We're working on that. And so we'll be able to get more clips out, but these clips like this, just one clip of Tim Baker is 11,000 views. Right. That's fantastic. Right.
Yes. And I think when we create more and more content, because there's a lot more content coming right now.
Oh yeah.
Right now we're running this as a radio show. We have not been out. We have not been to DC. We have not created content from Jefferson City. We have not done face-to-face interviews. All of these things are in the works, and we do have enough money to get it off the ground. Thanks to the advertisers, we have enough money to get it off the ground. It's the sustainability that we're talking about. Okay. Yes. I don't want to get, because that'll just be distracting from the show. I don't want to get too far. Paul, good to see you, Paul.
No, that is the show, Robb.
Okay.
That's what you're not getting right. That's what that's why you're getting it wrong. You're thinking you're still part of a radio station that's and it's not, that is the show. If we don't do that, the show will die. There's no one behind us, setting this up.
You got to be honest, Isaiah, because you were busting my balls a little bit. You tell me when we started talking about Israel and Zionism that our numbers on X, right? Because everybody says X is a free speech. It goes from 1,500 to 3,000 every day of live listeners down to like 200, 100. I'm like, good Lord. And it's just, it did the same thing to me last time.
Somehow after we're done being live, it picks back up, right? Which is great.
But I mean, they don't listen to it live like they were, because it's not rolling through the, people just see it. They roll through their, so they're like, oh, I see Robb.
Exactly.
And normally when they punch on it one time, it starts to roll through their feed more and more often. But when they algorithm you, it just doesn't show up in your feed anymore.
It's like mind control. They're compartmentalizing, right?
Yeah. And I'm not complaining about it. Somebody told me I shouldn't even bring it up. One of my friends said, don't even bring it up. Sounds like you're whining. I said, I'm not whining at all. I just think that this is news. If you're somebody,
I think it's bringing awareness.
Yeah, it's awareness. It's news. I'm not complaining about it. I knew it going in. I mean, I talked about you when we first started. I said, the only reason I'm nervous to go into social media is I've been through this ball game before. I know how this works. You start talking about things they don't like, and all of a sudden nobody can find you anymore. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let's play this. It's clip number 1. This is the history of mind control, MKUltra, from the BBC. Check it out. Clip number 1, Isaiah. Go.
I was given a glass of Kool-Aid, and so were the other children. This Kool-Aid was spiked with LSD. It was horrible.
In the early days of the Cold War, the CIA ordered the creation of a secret program intended to find ways of mind control. They funded an army of psychiatric institutions across the United States and Canada to perform experiments on unsuspecting patients using psychedelic drugs, sensory deprivation, electroshock treatment, and more. The program was known by its codename, MKUltra. At the end of the Korean War, a number of freed American POWs came home seemingly brainwashed and espousing communist propaganda. American officials suspected that the soldiers had been subjected to what they thought were new communist mind control techniques. Alarmed by the situation, the newly formed CIA allocated $25 million for psychiatric experiments on human beings.
It was the most secret program ever conducted by the CIA in the United States. Patients at psychiatric hospitals, prisoners in federal institutions, and even people in the public were given drugs without their awareness or consent and experimented upon.
Initial projects within MKUltra included Operation Midnight Climax.
They established what were called safe houses, where prostitutes would lure men to these apartments. And then once the men were in the apartments, they were dosed with LSD. And then they were basically studied by CIA scientists, usually behind a two-way mirror.
Another common practice was the hosting and observing of LSD-induced parties with live music. These parties were called acid tests, and the culture that grew out of them played a key role in the development of the hippie and psychedelic movements a few years later. However, some of the most damaging experiments occurred at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, Canada. There, under the direction of infamous Scottish-American psychiatrist Dr. Ewan Cameron, unsuspecting patients, many of whom had common ailments such as postpartum depression, were experimented on with aggressive drug cocktails and extreme techniques.
My father was a victim of Dr. Cameron. He was a 27-year-old, healthy skier, canoeer, very athletic, and he had asthma. They told him if he went to the Allen Memorial, they could cure his asthma.
My father, Charles, was a patient of Dr. Cameron's. He had a trigeminal neuralgia, it's called, where there's a pain in the temple that radiates into the jaw that apparently is excruciatingly painful. They told him that it was psychosomatic, which it's not, but in those days, what did they know? So they sent him to a shrink. This shrink that he went to was working with Cameron, although we didn't know. So he put my father right into the program.
I was having trouble with my parents. My father and my stepmother decided to put me in the Allen Memorial Institute. They had no idea what went on in there. I was 16 when I was there.
Dr. Cameron pursued a concept he called depatterning, which was meant to reduce patients to an infantile psychological state wherein doctors could take advantage of the person's cognitive vulnerability to attempt to rebuild their mind under the doctor's control. A popular method of choice to achieve this was called psychic driving.
The day that my father was brought to the hospital, they immediately put him on insulin, to put him into like an insulin coma. They took clips from the interview with the shrink and put it on tape to run a loop under his pillow while he was put into this sleep treatment.
He also was put in an insulin coma for 36 days with a recording beside him saying that your mother hates you over and over and over and over and over.
That was beside my bed constantly, repeated 250,000 and 500,000 times.
Another common method was the use of extreme Page-Russell electroshock therapy.
Page-Russell shock treatment is approximately 40 to 75 times the strength of a normal shock treatment. So it's really designed to wipe out the memory.
He received 54 high voltage shock treatments, followed by 54 grand mal seizures.
After 27 days of this, they said that they were discouraged because he still had ties to his former life, in that he was asking to see his wife. They decided to give him more Page-Russell shock treatments and put him to sleep for another 30 days.
When patients were released from the Allen Memorial, they and their families' lives would never be the same again.
Well, there's a lot I could not remember after I got out of the Allen. When my family came, I was a zombie. I didn't even know who they were.
He never came out the same. He had a blank look in his eye. He didn't know who we were. He didn't know we were his daughters. He lost his job. We went into poverty after he came out.
He had said in his interview with the shrink that I was the apple of his eye. And after he came home, he started beating me not long after.
In 1973,
right there,
the MKUltra program was terminated.
So I have a little bit of experience with this. I've told this story. I don't know if I've ever told it on the air. I've told friends and so forth, but my mom had, when she was young, her stepfather was very violent. She told me that he had tried to rape her at one point, and her brother saw it happening and pulled out a shotgun and stopped this whole thing. But he was very abusive to the stepkids, right? So my mom grew up and she had problems with depression.
Mm-hmm.
So she had, went in for depression. They eventually ended up giving her shock treatments.
Mm-hmm.
My own mother. Yeah. Shock treatments back in the 1979, 1980, that time frame. And one of the craziest things ever, and why I think I relate to this a little bit, is when my mom, she did recover and she worked her whole life, just an absolutely awesome person, hilariously funny, a belly laugh every single day. That was my mom. She just found things funny and she'd crack up laughing. And, but what was strange about it is that whenever she drank, Isaiah, like if my mom were to go to a party and have 3 or 4 or 5 beers or what have you, there would be times when I was with her that she would start to talk like a baby. She would talk to me like this, and she would, and Robbie and this kind of thing. And I never understood what was going on with it. It just always struck me as very bizarre. But I figured she was drinking, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And then as I started studying MKUltra and, when they're talking about the shock treatments there, this and that and the other, um, uh, if there is a split in the mind, you could actually revert back to this childhood of when this is going on with you. And it would certainly, and I don't think that's, by the way, on the page. This is
Yeah.
where they don't drink the Kool-Aid. That comes from what's his name? Jim
Jamestown.
Jones.
Yeah.
Jonestown.
Jonestown. Thank you. Yeah, Jonestown.
That's where that comes from because they all drank the Kool-Aid and it was poisonous and they all died.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
But this back to my mom, this whole thing just kind of all fit for me because I've actually witnessed it. I've witnessed somebody that has another person inside of them. It was a little baby girl, and she would talk to me for sometimes an hour, hour and a half with this little baby voice as a 40-something-year-old woman. The craziest thing in the world. But it appears to me, based on my experience and what I'm reading, that this is a real thing. And if it's a real thing, then that technology didn't go away. You wouldn't think it went away, would you, Isaiah? You would think that.
No, I think it's just evolved. I think that what they.
Or who has it?
This is my logical. If I just look at it, right, and just look at the progression of how things have happened, is that it starts with the Nazis, who were the propaganda masters.
Mm-hmm.
Brainwashing, that's what they're, mind control and brainwashing is what they're studying. They bring those scientists over here. They see the communists were able to brainwash these soldiers that come back, right? And then they're investing heavily into this mind control. You roll into the 60s, they find out that they can control people's minds, right? And then the hearings happen in the 70s. 1973, the CIA director, Richard Helms, destroyed most of the files on MKUltra, right? And then
it tells you they're leading you to believe that it was working and that it was really dangerous. And it was so dangerous, you didn't want that information even available to anyone. But you'd have to think if it was studied in Nazi Germany and it was studied elsewhere around the world, that technique is still available to people.
Well, this is
it might not be the governments that have it, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I don't think the CIA is like really the government. I don't think that, But then what was my last point? Is that the media, that's the jump now, I think, right? Is that with television coming out? I think I sent you a clip. I don't know if we have it, but we were talking back and forth about this clip. I think we were talking back and forth. And it's a clip of a guy being at a Senate committee hearing or something. He's being asked, does the CIA own or have they ever influenced any television broadcasts in the US? And he says,
I play that all the time.
He says, I think we should talk about that in an executive session. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it is now, right? Like you're saying, it's not the government, it's the media companies that are in bed with the CIA, who is not really a part of the government. They are, but not.
Correct.
And I think that's where that's kind of going now. That's my assumption.
How about that? Lance. Thank you, Lance.
I bet it was from the I wonder if it was from the showing that video for so long.
Well, it's saying it's glitching. I don't know if that means it's frozen, but if it is, I always say jump over to Rumble. That's the freest.
Rumble's the best.
It's the freest platform in the world right now is Rumble. And it's one of those things, Isaiah.
Well, no, it looks like YouTube's good, so it might just be your Wi-Fi then. Because
the one good thing about Rumble,
I have like super good Wi-Fi here, so it's hard. I know it's not the same for everyone. I have Wi-Fi that's like 5 times faster than the normal Wi-Fi.
I got the high flying.
We have to, Rob.
The high flying Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
What was I going to tell? Oh, the Rumble. One of the things I like about Rumble is I want to support Rumble.
I know.
Because it is as I look at it, I'm just watching it. It does seem to be the freest platform out there. And I think most people like to use YouTube because there's a familiarity with it.
Yes.
But man, you almost want to support a free speech platform where nobody's bothering you.
Absolutely.
You put whatever you want. It's the way it should be anyway.
Yep.
Let's get
that's the original way YouTube was until Google got it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do who are we doing? Carrington?
Oh, yeah. Rick Bavitz, your carrying advisor.
Let's do that. And when I come back from this, so I'm going to do two advertisers. Pay attention to my advertisers, please. When we come back, we'll do Danny Trejo. Do you know who Danny Trejo is? I wonder how many people know him.
Yeah, he wasn't so.
He was an actor.
I don't want to spoil what we're about to see, but I think he was in prison with
Manson.
Well, Manson, but wasn't he? I thought he might have been in the same prison as the Wolf of Wall Street guy too, maybe. I
I
can't
don't think
remember.
so.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible. Carrington Financial, your caringadvisor.com. My man, Rick Babich. You can reach him at 314-671-0525. He is your financial planning expert. If you're nearing retirement, if you have money to stretch, if you have money to save, if you just want an opinion about your finances because you're a little nervous about where the world is heading, I always say get a second, get a third, get a fourth. Doesn't matter to me, but get an opinion from Rick Babich. The guy knows currencies. He knows the history of money. You just couldn't get a more knowledgeable person about where the world is heading and how to make sure that your money's in the right place. Rick Babich is the guy. 314-671-0525. As he likes to say, this is my script. Isaiah, I'm gonna knock this out for you real fast. The reality is that investors are dying to have a new experience. The dominance of big brokerage firms and wirehouses has given even above average investors the impression that there is no alternative, that their choices are limited, and that by switching to another advisor or firm, it wouldn't make much difference in the outcome. Carrington Financial offers investors the alternative approach they have been seeking. My man, Rick Babich, 314-671-0525. Again, he's crushed it with our money, so what can I tell you? Rick Babich, your caringadvisor.com, 314-671-0525. And then secondly, we got Rack Custom Coatings, RAKCustomCoatings.com. Locally owned and operated since 2001. And when you see the pictures on the screen, you cannot deny that this looks really, really good. Industrial spaces, garages, hangars, school floors, you name it. If you have industrial, would you call it industrial spaces? I guess that's what I call it, Isaiah, industrial spaces. And or if you just want to get your garage tidied up. For me, it was the garage. When I saw it for the first time, when my buddy finished it and I opened up the garage door, it just blew me away how fantastic it looks. And it's not very expensive either. So garages, commercial spaces, you name it. Rich McQuay is the guy. 2001, they began their business. They install industrial strength, long-lasting coatings built to handle anything your home or business can throw at it. And from garages to commercial spaces, RAK Custom Coatings delivers tough, beautiful finishes that last. Where quality meets craftsmanship. Business number is 636-398-5040. If you haven't thought about these things, you might want to give it a chance. Talk to Rich, see what you think. But again, if you're selling a home or you just want to give your house a little bit more curb appeal, it definitely makes a difference. Did for me. And
Absolutely.
I can suggest that it will do the same for you.
And I know that it matters who you work with, just because my buddy's dad, he basically is the guy who makes all the chemicals for these guys. He built a big, huge company making these chemicals that all these guys use to make these floors. And so it matters who you're using because of the quality of the ingredients essentially that they're getting and how long the floors last. And I mean, looking at these pictures, these are high quality floors because the better quality ingredients you have when you're making these floors, the longer they're going to last. And you don't have to get them redone as often. And you can save tons and tons of money when you get the right floor done is what my understanding from my buddy's dad, who tells me about all this. He said, basically he kind of fell into it because they made the floors last instead of 10 years. They were able to make them last for 30 years. And that just made their company blow up back in the day. And so really, really matters. And
baby.
Like you said,
RAKCustomcoatings.com.
All right. My wife wants our basement done.
Get it done. All right, let's do clip number 2. This is Danny Trejo. Now, let me explain this, what's going on here. So Danny Trejo was in prison. He was a drug addict. He got out. He became an actor. You'll recognize his face if you don't know who Danny Trejo is. And what he's about ready to describe to you, he's doing a podcast, and he's going to describe an experience where he was in jail, in county jail, with Charles Manson. Charles Manson was able to brainwash them to make them feel like they were on drugs when there were no drugs available. So they were drug addicts. They couldn't get their drugs because they were in county lockup. Danny Trejo ends up in the same cell with Charles Manson. Charles Manson, they're protecting Charles Manson. Machete, that's the movie he was in. Machete. So Charles Manson, was 5'4", I think he says, 120 pounds, something of this nature, a little bitty guy, and he is they're protecting him. And they protect him because Charles Manson can brainwash them and make them feel like they're on a heroin high. Here's the story. Danny Trejo talking about Charles Manson, one of our MKUltra subjects, if you will. Check it out.
Charles Manson in prison, didn't you? What was that story? Can you tell us that?
County jail. In the county jail. But let me tell you, Charlie wasn't the guy that you saw on the TV specials. All right. He was a God, he was like 5'4", 5'5", little scrawny. He was poor, kind of like a bum, really. He had a string for a belt. He tied his pants with a string because he couldn't afford a belt, you know. And everybody else, we dressed, you know, cool, ironed our pants, and so some of the prisoners were going to take advantage of him because they take advantage of anybody that's small. And we found out that he could hypnotize you, so we let him sleep in front of our cell to you know, to make sure that nobody would hurt him. And he got us loaded on weed, and 3 of the guys in the cell. Everybody else had like 6 guys in their cell. We only had 3 because we were special. I had 2 killers with me, and then he got us loaded on weed, and I said, "Well, get us loaded on heroin." So the 3 of us tried to get loaded. He got 2 of us loaded on heroin. One guy just woke up, and afterwards I asked him, how come he couldn't do him? And he asked, "Did you ever get loaded on heroin?" He goes, "No." Well, your mind doesn't know how to work. Do you understand? Your mind doesn't know how to react. So if I tell you to do something while you're hypnotized and you haven't done it before, or you don't know how to do it, you'll just wake up. And that's what kept happening.
Yeah, so you're saying that he got you guys loaded up on heroin or weed, but there was no heroin or weed in the room, right? He was doing this purely through hypnosis.
People know when I get loaded on heroin, my eyes, I get red under my eyes. And it's like literally the first thing, blah, you throw up, you dump. And I mean, me and Chato, it's like we both got blah. He dumped in the sink, I dumped in the toilet, and looked, hey, what you doing? And whoa, everybody was like shocked. And this Johnny Ronnie Krooks, he was like, well, what happened? He never got loaded. And boy, I was sorry when they transferred Charlie out.
You've basically got unlimited access to anything that you want because he can just keep on hypnotizing you back into it. What was he in for? Do you know why he was there?
Yeah, I have no idea. He was nothing of any, because he was a petty thief. He wasn't, and not to speak ill of the dead, but Charlie couldn't have done that any place, any time, but right there. And my friend George Perry knew him in Frisco, knew him in Oakland, okay? And he was a scrawny little hippie. And the girls that he got, Linda Kasabian, all of them were broken. All of them, they were up in Oakland and San Francisco being ripped off by the pimps and raped by the pimps. And so he came around with a big bus and some acid and said, let me lead you. So it was kind of like they looked at him like, yeah, he's the Messiah, They were already
vulnerable. They were already primed for somebody like him to come in and save them.
They were so broken, and so needed somebody to take care of them.
A crazy story, Isaiah?
In the same way that you could have done with a bit of extra heroin or weed in prison.
Absolutely.
That's not a crazy story.
Yeah.
To get somebody so high that they have the feeling that they're on a certain drug and it's so real that you throw up afterwards, Yeah.
And
that's why I say these stories hold a little weight to me, because if you tie all the different data points together, there's something there. I mean, the government doesn't dismiss MKUltra, but citizens do. Citizens don't believe that it's possible that you could get somebody like this Krooks character that took a shot at Donald Trump, right? I'm starting to look at that more and more like that was a setup, Isaiah. I meant to talk to you about that. So the Thomas Krooks, because what made it seem like it was a little bit more of a theatrical.
Yeah, that's Butler, right? If I'm just remembering.
That's Butler. Yeah. Is that he did the BlackRock commercial. Now, again, if you're BlackRock and you're going to use somebody to assassinate Donald Trump, you're not going to put him in a commercial, are you? Right? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So
show you what is it like? Show you what we're going to do, and then we do it or something, right?
Maybe. I still, that whole story just seems so convoluted to me. I just don't know how anybody can not ask the right questions about that. You know, we keep
Well, we
talking.
moved on so quickly from it. I think
That's what I mean.
isn't that what Trisha Hope says all the time? Is like,
Yeah.
well, what happened? You know,
What happened? Did we get an answer?
Yeah.
It's so crazy because how in the world do you pull that off? How do you know that a ladder is going to be there? How do you know where you can take aim? How do you know any of these things unless you have some, arrangements in advance? The whole thing doesn't make any sense. I don't want to get off that, but there was a lot of people that thought, what was his Thomas Krooks? Was that his name?
Yep.
That he was a part of the MKUltra experiments because he was very bizarre. He was kind of a loner type guy. Same with the kid that shot Charlie Kirk. Just kind of, strange guy off in his room playing video games and, into transgenderism and this kind of situation. So, I don't know what to make of it, but I want to move. So that's Danny Trejo, and I want to get a little Kathy O'Brien in there. And can you fast forward and move this around a little bit, Isaiah? So we can, because the whole thing is fascinating. If you have not seen this before, let me just lay out Kathy O'Brien now. She's got a book called Transformation of America, and I think she got another book called In the Name of National Security. Transformation of America, if you read it, which I have, is one of the most bizarre readings you're ever going to hear. Now, it's hard to believe. There are things in there. She talks about the way these pedophiles speak in code, and she says they speak in code based on Disney. Isn't that odd? Disney. And she said they use Disney names for people, but they use a lot of Disney references.
Mm-hmm.
And if you pay attention, you'll hear people say that. Somebody just on the screen, who was it? Said something about
well, did you know about all this? Have you ever heard about the subliminal messaging inside of Disney movies and things like that?
Yeah. Okay. You ever heard of Pinocchio?
Oh yeah.
The Pinocchio one? Yeah.
Yeah. In Aladdin too. And they have all these things that, like, in Aladdin, in the stars, it spells out sex in the sky.
Really?
Yeah. There is so many. That's why I'm telling you, Rob, since I was a kid, I've been into conspiracies and looking into all this stuff.
Somebody just said something about Britney Spears and said she was acting like a child. Did you see that? There it is.
Yeah, I saw it. I know there's a lot of comments.
Have you seen that?
Recent DUI pleaser shows her childlike personality seemingly other. No. Very interesting.
And that would make sense, right? Because
she definitely seems like she has multiple personality disorder.
Right. And I was going to take a Britney Spears song and clip it because I was, I like to play jokes and I just haven't brought the humor to the show yet. It's coming.
It's coming.
You just wait. But I was was talking about some of these politicians who come off so wonderful when they're talking to you. And then I was going to play her song, Not So Innocent. Remember that song? Not So
Innocent. Yeah.
Sing it just like you move like her and you sound like her. But she was one that got into Disney at a very early age. And look what's happened to her.
Yeah.
She was this cute child. She turns into like this major sex symbol when she gets into about 19, 20 years old. And now she's in a conservatorship and she can't even control her own life. It's, it's very strange.
Yeah. Well, I know that Walt Disney was a big fan of the Nazis. I don't know if that had to do with propaganda or something, because he was in the media. I don't know if that's what he really liked about them. But I know he was a big proponent of like Jewish supremacy in America, like that there is.
Disney was?
Pretty sure, yeah.
You gotta look that up.
Pretty sure. Yeah,
I'm not
pretty
sure.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. If I'm remembering off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure he was kind of in there. Not as much as other people, but if I'm remembering off the top of my head correctly, I could be wrong. But it'll be interesting. I'll look it up. But
look it up. Where do we want to
messaging is there 100%.
Oh yeah, you can definitely pin something in the back of somebody's consciousness. There's no doubt about it. Your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And pin something in there. I think that's proven, right? You can see that through any kind of hypnosis. You can verify that. By the way, I had somebody in this in the chat. Where is it? Chiappetta. Let me give a shout out to him because I don't do this. So this guy right here, Anthony Chips Chiappetta. So his father was one of the first accounts I ever sold to in the shoe business back in 1994, 95. Business been around for over 100 years. If you look up Chiappetta's shoes in Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin, one of the best shoe stores in all of America, Isaiah, right there. And that's the son of he was probably he might not have been born back in those days when I was playing golf with his father and opened up the shoe store. But that's a buddy of mine from Wisconsin who's listening in. Kind of nice to see. Great family.
Awesome.
Great family. Honestly, one of the best.
He sent us some cheese.
They do size and width. They do, just all kind of comfort shoes. They have a huge store out in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Great people. Anyway, glad you're listening, Anthony. All right, let me get this in. I think we do Kathy O'Brien. She's the most interesting person in this whole operation for me. Kathy O'Brien, again, I started to tell you the story earlier. Let me just set it up and then we'll play the clip. It is number 3, Isaiah. So Kathy O'Brien claims that her father was a pedophile. He was selling pornographic material through the mail. The authorities see it. They say they're going to arrest him or he's going to have to turn his daughter over to the military or to whatever they told him at the time. She ends up, as she says, in the MKUltra experiments, and she is used as a sex toy all the way up into her 30 years old. There's another CIA contractor who knows that she's being used. He sees this particular story. It's a crazy story. It involves China. It involves a ventriloquist. It involves all kinds of different celebrities. But he rescues her, takes her to Alaska. He was familiar with the MKUltra experiments. He unwinds her mind, and then she becomes a witness to what the MKUltra experiments are all about. Okay, that's who she is. When she gets her mind, because she's been on with Alex Jones many times, she's been on with Roseanne Barr many times. She's kind of the face of the MKUltra experiments over the course of the last 30 years. And she does she was going out and informing people as to what she went through as a victim of MKUltra. And this is one of the most famous addresses that she ever did. And we'll kind of just give you pieces of it because I can't play the whole thing. It's over an hour and a half long, but you'll get the gist of it. There's Kathy O'Brien explaining MKUltra, mind control experiments. I think this was done. I don't even know what date this was. I should have looked it up, but check it out. This is Kathy O'Brien, mind control, little conference that she was doing with her husband at the time. Check it out.
I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here tonight to arm yourselves with knowledge about a tool that's being covertly used to usher in what Adolf Hitler and George Bush termed New World Order, and that's mind control. I've enjoyed talking with quite a few of you earlier this evening pertaining to how mind control has affected some of you or some of your loved ones. Mind control is very prevalent in this country and around the world. These criminals that are in control of our country operate on the philosophy that secret knowledge equals power. Many government secrets and personal reputations were staked on the belief that I could not be deprogrammed to remember those things that I was supposed to forget. They were wrong. For as intelligent as these perpetrators are, they're limited in their thinking by their own immorality. They don't have wisdom. They don't think deep. And they never considered the strength of the human spirit. They never considered what would happen when a good man like Mark Phillips gained knowledge of their secrets and used them to restore a mind rather than control one. I know that I'm extremely fortunate to have survived my CIA, MKUltra, White House, Pentagon level, trauma base, mind control victimization. Now that I'm in control of my own mind and ultimately my free will, I'm telling everything that I witnessed and saw and heard and photographically recorded behind the scenes of this New World Order effort. By telling their secrets, their power is eroding. I also speak out to give voice to the many mind control victims and survivors out there who can't think to speak out and tell what they know and what they've endured. I speak out for the sake of my daughter, Kelly, who's now 16 years old and is a political prisoner in the custody of the state of Tennessee, where she's being denied any rehabilitation due to the political affluence of her abusers. She's counting on Mark and I to get this word out on her behalf. For Kelly's sake, And for your sake, Mark and I have gone to great lengths to document the facts and the truths that are listed in our book, Transformation of America. Transformation of America is self-published, uncensored, so that you can have the facts that you have a right to know and a need to know. These truths have been covered up and kept from all of us for a long time under a blanket of so-called national security. This is the same blanket of national security that has prevented
You pause
us
it
from
there.
obtaining justice.
Yep.
Okay. I've seen this so many times because I was fascinated by it, and then I got the book and the whole thing. So just give you some of the names that she implicates. She says that she was brought into MKUltra by President Gerald Ford. You believe that?
Makes sense.
Gerald Ford almost seems impossible to me, but she says that's where it all started. She said that Ronald Reagan was involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, they would have to be. That's my point, is that they would have to be, kind of, right?
She said it was just a common practice, the people in power. And she said it was called the Order of the Rose. And she said that, it's like the other guy said. He said, you have to do horrific things to move yourself to the top of the political environment because it runs like a mafia.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of feels like it might be true, right? You've got
that's what people say about the music industry. They say they have to sacrifice someone.
Same thing, same exact thing. All right. So you got Gerald Ford, she says, was involved in this in these MKUltra. And she said the people in power just knew. They just knew that, the girls all the time, boys, whatever you were into, they had it for you. Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, G.H.W. Bush, Daddy Bush, Bill Clinton. She said that Bill Clinton, she said back then that Hillary Clinton was a homosexual. She said that Bill Clinton was a homosexual. They were both bisexuals. And what's interesting about that is, remember the blue dress? Where Clinton's in the blue dress?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So how would she know, or where would that come from, to where he'd be in a blue dress with red shoes, if you know that, right? But she's the one that said he was homosexual, a bisexual. And then she said that she did cocaine, saw him do cocaine multiple times. She makes the joke he did inhale. Dick Cheney, he said that Dick Cheney was almost like sadistic. Now, she says about Dick Cheney that they like to play The Most Dangerous Game. Remember the book, The Most Dangerous Game, Isaiah, where you hunt human beings? She said there's the picture of Bill right there. Now, if she calls him a homosexual and that painting shows up at Jeffrey Epstein's place, kind of is kind of an odd prediction, if you will.
Yeah.
She says that Dick Cheney liked to play The Most Dangerous Game, and they would hunt human beings. And she says, she tells the whole story about how that went down at a ranch somewhere with Dick Cheney. And then if you remember, Dick Cheney ended up shooting some guy. Remember that?
Yep.
He ended up shooting some guy with a pellet gun or whatever, a shotgun, and he had whatever you call it. What do they call it? Buckshot all over him?
Yeah, the shotgun pellets, I guess, right?
Shotgun pellets, exactly. She said Robert C. Byrd was her handler. Robert C. Byrd was he was from West Virginia. Bill Clinton and the big time players spoke at his funeral. He was a KKK Grand Wizard recruiter.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was Robert Byrd. They said he was one of the most popular Democrats of the era, Robert Byrd. And then she says Pierre Trudeau was a part of it. And when she mentioned Pierre Trudeau, she said that this works through families. These are old historic families that have power. Some of them are just, they kind of get into it because they're.
Didn't the BBC documentary say that Montreal was a big hub too? I didn't catch that, I guess, when I was watching.
Montreal's where Cameron was doing the experience. She mentions Cameron in her book.
Yeah.
So
but I'm just thinking Trudeau.
Yeah,
Montreal. Canada.
Yeah.
Mind control, right?
She said
it doesn't take that much to connect those dots, I feel like, right?
She said Pierre Trudeau was a part of it. Now, Pierre Trudeau is now who's the son of Pierre Trudeau? Justin Trudeau. Who's Justin Trudeau dating right now?
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry is the one that does all the occult stuff.
The Earth. Thank you. I'm so glad I'm back on Earth from being in outer space.
Type in Katy Perry occult or Katy Perry devil worship, and you can kind of see some of the videos she does. Now, she's one of the most popular pop culture entertainers in the last 25 years. Katy Perry had a ton of hit songs. And now she's dating Pierre Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau is the one who locked down society during the trucker strike. If you remember, took all their money, froze their bank accounts to get them out. That's Pierre Trudeau, or that's Justin Trudeau. His father, Pierre Trudeau. I hope I got the names messed up. Let me slow it down here a bit. Justin Trudeau is dating Katy Perry, who is into devil worship. That's one of her songs. You got any devil worship stuff? Did you do the devil worship?
No.
Is that the eye right there? Is that the all-seeing eye?
Yeah, that's the all-seeing eye right there.
There you go. So she's into the occult activity, Katy Perry. And I just find it interesting that Katy Perry in this that does all this devil worship stuff is dating Justin Trudeau, who's the son of Pierre Trudeau, who she claims was involved in all of this. Alex Houston was somebody that she was married to. Alex Houston was a ventriloquist down in where do they have Silver Dollar City? What's the name of that town? Branson. Now, she also claims that the reason Branson exists in the world is because they were moving drugs through Arkansas, and they wanted a state adjacent to Arkansas that was close to the border. And she said that's how Branson came about, is they were drug trafficking through that area. And that was a good central hub for, there she is, Katy Perry. A good central hub for drug trafficking was Branson. And Alex Houston was a ventriloquist in Branson. Wayne Cox, that was her first handler. Sparky Anderson, she mentions, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, that's the one we said that was, I forget what he's a member of. Was it the Temple of Set? I forget what the thing he was, but he was a devout Satanist. He used to go on Geraldo Rivera and shows like that back in the day. And he said, it's my religion. I have freedom of religion. You can't just kick me out of the military because I study Satanism or I'm a Satanist. And he wrote the book Mind Wars, which everybody should read, right? She mentions Ewing Cameron. Now, that's the guy that was mentioned in that documentary we were watching. He is the one who was doing the MKUltra experiments in Montreal. She mentions Dr. Martin Orne, Dr. William Mitchell. Mark Phillips was her husband. Country music ties.
Yeah, and that, just so you know, in that documentary, they sold their souls for rock and roll. They say that Garth Brooks is a devil worshiper.
Well, you know, Garth Brooks sang at introduced Joe Biden when everybody thought Joe Biden had stole the election. And I'm like, what in the world? What is Garth Brooks doing? Was he crazy? I mean, because all the country fans were behind Donald Trump. They weren't behind Joe Biden. And then he comes up and speaks at his event. So I wonder if that's where that comes from. Is that an old one that you saw?
Yeah, from in the documentary that I watched a long time ago, that
really?
Old documentary. Yeah, they talk about Garth Brooks being a devil worshiper back then.
You know who else they say was a devil worshiper?
Who?
So he sang the Candyman. Why are none of these names coming to my head? What's going on? And I've got my electrolytes drink right here too.
Candyman.
He was a black guy that was Jewish.
Oh, Drake.
No.
Drake is Jewish, just so you know.
I didn't know that either. The Candyman can, the
Candyman can. Oh, I know that song.
Who sings that song? Why can't I think of it? Where is my
Sammy Davis Jr.?
No, Sammy Davis Jr. There it is. Thank you, Steve. I learned that when I was watching Jerry Seinfeld. He did that drinking in cars, coffee in cars, and he was talking to Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy said he had a conversation with Sammy Davis Jr. where Sammy Davis Jr. said he was a Satanist, and Eddie Murphy is telling that story on that show. I'm like, good Lord, it's kind of crazy just how this whole world works.
Yeah. I got my Ford, not my Ford. I saw Henry Ford being talked about by Dan, but Disney. So the allegations are that he met Hitler. So there's one allegation there that he actually met Hitler.
Who did?
Disney, Walt Disney.
Okay.
And then there's allegations from an animator from the Walt Disney Company. There's been that he was part of the American, basically Nazi party, one of them. And so he wasn't out. I saw Dan say Henry Ford. I don't know if you know much about Henry Ford, but Henry Ford was very outspoken, and he
was for the Nazis.
Yeah, I think he even he either published it or he paid to have the Protocols of the Elders of Zion published, which is what Harrison Smith has just been reading recently.
Crazy, isn't it? I've been paying attention to that too.
Yeah. So Henry Ford had that published in America, I'm pretty sure. And so, yeah, that's their relation. And then what's interesting, I don't know if you know this, Rob, but do you know that the U.S. military, the government took over Walt Disney during World War II?
No.
Yeah, so they took over Disney and started pushing with Walt Disney's blessing, right? It's not like it was a
Why did they take it over? What was the reason?
To push the pro-war propaganda, anti-Nazi propaganda, things like that. So yeah, very interesting.
Can you fast forward her just a little bit? I want to get through different sections of this. So if you've got the Kathy O'Brien video, let's just fast forward a little bit. She kind of gives the base of how she got into MKUltra, but we just went through that. But I want to, if she's got some stories about Clinton, about maybe a third of the way through, if you can pop it in there and let's just see what she's talking about. And we kind of just clip through there.
We got like 15 minutes right now. I just fast forwarded to. We'll check out where we're at right here.
Perfect.
For so-called reasons of national security. My father thought it was just absolutely wonderful and immediately sold me into the project. He felt like the government condoned child abuse. So did I. I certainly felt like the government did. And my father went on to have 5 more children to raise in the project, so there were 7 of us in all. The rest are still awaiting freedom. Once my father agreed to sell me into the project, I was taken routinely to Mackinac Island, Michigan, which is a political retreat where the Michigan governor's mansion is located. It was a bohemian grove of sorts where politicians met and discussed New World Order controls, where they discussed mind control of the masses, mind control in the school systems, how to use occultism as a trauma base. One of my sexual abusers at that time was the Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau is a professed Jesuit. Now, the Jesuits are an intelligence arm of the Catholic Vatican. There's a criminal faction within these Jesuits. I'm certainly not saying all Catholics are bad, nor am I saying all CIA is bad or all politicians. There's good and bad in everything. But
have you heard about the Jesuits versus the Catholics?
You're going to tell me. I have a feeling.
Yeah, so that basically what she just said, and I think that the Jesuits are the responsible for the liberalization of the Catholic Church and things like that. So
gotcha. I was just I was going to play a clip the other day with Tucker Carlson talking to just doing a monologue where he says what is going on between the Catholics and the Jews, right?
Yeah,
and he kind of just laid that out. It was actually really good. But anyway, she talks about Pierre Trudeau right there.
Yeah,
and she talks about Mackinac Island as well. So I had read her book, and I'm watching like a 2020 or Dateline or 48 Hours. I watch those shows.
Yeah.
And it was talking about 3 young kids that were missing in Michigan. I want to say back in the 70s, early 80s timeframe. And whoever the investigator was, they hired a private investigator, and the investigator tracked it back to Mackinac Island. And he actually found like tree houses in Mackinac Island and all this other stuff. And I thought, wow, that is so crazy. Where did I just hear that? I couldn't remember where I heard this stuff going on. And I remembered it was Kathy O'Brien saying that this is where they held meetings for mind control, sexual deviancy with children, pedophilia, if you will, at Mackinac Island in Michigan. And just everything, if you just get these things in your mind.
There's all those clubhouses, right?
Yeah, they start to tie together. You're like, wow, it's just so crazy how things start to tie together.
Yeah. It's so crazy that it's almost unbelievable is what I think is exactly what they want.
It is, right? It's so outside of your understanding that you're not going to believe it, right?
Yeah.
Let me get Moe's Pizza and Rocket.
Oh, you're going to make me hungry early?
I am starving for pizza. I got to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh.
But John Grady went through this.
We got to get some Moe's while you're in town?
He's telling me how great the pizza was. It was great people too. Moe's Pizza in Washington, Missouri, at the corner of Grand and 5th Street. It's Mike and Brenda Johns. They are a landmark. Everybody knows what Moe's Pizza is now. Every time I go in there, the place is hopping. Moe's Pizza in Washington, Missouri. Again, if you have any kind of get-together, whether it be for birthday parties, political meetings, anniversaries, you name it, any kind of get-together, and you're out in the area, if you're in St. Clair, what do we got out there? What other areas around Washington?
Yeah, Washington. If you're in Washington, Union, Sullivan, St. Clair, Marthasville, Defiance,
there you go.
Gray Summit. Yeah, if you were in even up in the Eureka area, right? It's probably a 20, 30-minute drive for you for all those people.
Amen. And it is Moe's Pizza. Delicious food, pizza and salad bar. So if you like to get down for about $13, $14 and you want to go just stuff it in there with some pizza and salad, I highly recommend you think of Moe's Pizza. Delicious food, delicious. I like the sandwiches, and I haven't even had one, to be honest with you. I shouldn't say I like them, but I saw one. I saw this guy eating a chicken sandwich there one day, and I was starving, but
Man, now I got to get one.
I was on one of my fasts, and I was looking at the size of the chicken. I'm like, man, that looks good. Holy cow, I'd like to have that bad boy.
Their buffalo wings are very good. I can attest to that. I only get bone in, so they're the more expensive ones, but they are delicious.
I like the bone in myself.
Yeah.
And then you got the ice cream, which is phenomenal, but just a great environment. Help support local advertisers, great people. Mike and Brenda Johns.
Looks like they have DoorDash now. You can order online.
You can order them on DoorDash?
Looks like it. Looks
I
like
didn't
it
know
on
that.
their website.
There you go. Moe's Pizza, a landmark in Washington, Missouri. Get there.
Or else.
Let's do Rocket.
Rocket. We getting some Moe's Pizza while you're in town?
Oh, yeah. We'll get out there. Got to see him anyway. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com. Again, this is a nationwide business, so you don't have to be in Missouri or Florida for this. You can be anywhere in the country. If you have a small to medium-sized business and HR does not get the job done, always think RocketCareers.com. They'll put the right candidate before you. They kind of take over for HR if they're just not getting good candidates. They have a network from coast to coast, and they will take care of you. If you want to launch a new career and you're out of work or hate your job, they'll take care of you on that end as well. They'll brush up your elevator pitch. They'll get your resume ready, and they'll hook you up with employers to help you launch a new career. They do it better than anyone. They are best in class. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com. Don't use the big online cold nonsense. I don't want to mention their competitors, but come on. Use somebody you know. These guys are coast to coast. These are great people. You'll love doing business with them. They do great work for small businesses that may not have a human resources department, and they do great work for people who are out of job or just want to change their career. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com, 636-778-2419. All right, let's fast forward Kathy O'Brien. I think there's a couple things in there I want to see. If you can go like maybe 15 minutes further. I'm fascinated by her story because she comes off as so genuine. I say to everybody who pays attention to Kathy O'Brien, she believes what she's saying. I'll tell you that. She absolutely believes. So if it's some kind of mental trauma that has got her talking about things that are not true, she believes what she's saying. And they claim, Isaiah, that when you have this kind of sexual torture and assault as a young child and your brain splits, that you can have photographic memory. Paul Bonacci said the same thing. She says the same thing. So she was able to go into Manuel Noriega, right? She meets him, and she's basically a spy. But she doesn't have to have notes or a recorder or anything. She can remember every word that was said off the top of her head. It's fascinating. It's fascinating if it's true, I guess is the way I would put it. A little bit more from Kathy O'Brien, just so people can get a feel for who she is and what she's all about if you've never heard of her before.
And I had no need to hide. Obviously, they do, by the way. They're covering up all their acts with the national security blanket. After I graduated from high school, Senator Byrd ordered that I be transferred to Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee was heavily involved in mind control at that time through the country music industry, and above all, the proliferation of CIA cocaine operations within the country music industry were already in full swing. The political corruption in Tennessee was just all the way to the top. The country music industry provided a cover for mind control slaves like myself to be taken around the country to the various places as designated, and also to distribute and deliver the large quantities of CIA cocaine that was coming into the country. It was my experience that the CIA's so-called war on drugs is no more than the CIA eliminating their competition as they take over the drug industry worldwide.
Think of Afghanistan.
They took their war on drugs to our street corners and turned our streets into a bloodbath. The country music industry provided the cover for distributing the cocaine, so Senator Byrd wanted me to be within the country music industry. Besides that, he fancied himself an entertainer of sorts, and he fiddled on the Grand Ole Opry from time to time. When I was first sent to Nashville, he was playing on the Opry that night, and he had a musician behind him, a guy named Wayne Cox. Wayne Cox later told me that playing music behind Senator Byrd wasn't the only way that he backed him, but that he backed him politically as well. After the Opry that night, I endured an occult ritual again. Occultism is oftentimes used as a trauma base for mind control. Who can comprehend that kind of a trauma? Blood ritual is absolutely horrible, and it's a perfect trauma base for mind control, for the compartmentalization of memory. I witnessed Wayne Cox murder a railroad bum down at Nashville's Union Station. It was abandoned at that time, and there were bums around, and he shot him right between the eyes and cut off both of his hands, which was Cox's MO for murder. After this blood ritual, this horrible trauma, I was programmed that Wayne Cox would be my first handler in MKUltra mind control. As my handler, Wayne Cox would follow Senator Byrd's directions and instructions, and above all, he would be subjecting me to more trauma sufficient to satisfy the numerous compartments Senator Byrd wanted developed in my brain for mind control programming so that I could carry out various operations during the Reagan-Bush administration. I endured numerous occult rituals after that. Wayne Cox at that time was working directly under the direction of Louisiana Senator J. Bennett Johnston, and he took me to his hometown in Chatham, Louisiana. J. Bennett Johnston at that time was heavily involved in mind control operations because he was running a band of mercenaries out of Louisiana. At that time, this band of mercenaries were going in and out of South America. There was a lot of arms deals going on. There was, and most importantly, when the airplanes would fly these guys down to South America, they would come back full of cocaine, which was being distributed on our streets. Wayne Cox was triggering these mercenaries into operation by showing them a severed hand from another one of his victims, which re-traumatized them into the occult ritual that they had already endured and accessed a specific compartment of their brain. And he told them that J. Bennett Johnston wanted them to give him a hand and carry out a certain operation. He would then give the instructions and the guys would follow him through. So J. Bennett Johnston was heavily involved. At that time, it was 1978, and it was determined that I had endured sufficient trauma to carry out my first trial run operation.
Pause it right there, Isaiah.
An enormous quantity of cocaine had been flown.
What is your take on her just when you see her? Does she come off as credible to you?
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking, so I just did some research, and even on her Wikipedia page, there's nothing in there that debunks her.
It's such a crazy story, but you know, when I hear her, I've watched, you know, many interviews that she's done.
Yeah. Well, now that the Epstein files, I don't think it's as crazy. I think
it comes off as very credible, but if you heard the stories, Isaiah, it would blow your mind. She says that I don't get too graphic here, but she talks about Dick Cheney and what a savage he was.
Mm-hmm.
She said that Dick Cheney had this enormous penis, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she goes on. She said, you know, it was very painful. He was sadistic.
Wow.
He was just this basically an awful person.
Wow.
Right. She says that Chris Christopherson was involved. She said Chris Christopherson, like Chris Christopherson. And then you look up Chris Christopherson, and he originates in school out of Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
One of our club schools that we talk about all the time, where kind of the sinister beginnings are. It's Oxford. It's the London School of Economics. It is Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, Georgetown. That's where all the power apparently is. And when she mentioned Chris Christopherson, I'm like, that is just the craziest thing in the world. Crazy. But she does seem credible to you?
Yeah, I mean, from everything I'm seeing, I mean, it's pretty, I would say, conspiratorial, right? leaning on that end, but it doesn't seem like anything she said has been debunked, because when she said, "Oh, Senator Byrd at the Grand Ole Opry," I looked that up and I was just like, "Oh, Senator Byrd at the Grand Ole Opry, what was he doing? I didn't even know that." And then, yeah, okay, he played the fiddle on the Grand Ole Opry, and so
She knows everything.
the way she's recalling things is that it's very when people are recalling things and they actually know versus when they're trying to
right. Fake it.
It's you can just tell. I don't know. Me and you are communication people, so
I think we can tell. I think it's
we can read people. Yeah,
Right.
better than most. And so the way she's telling it, she believes it. Now, does that mean it's true? No, not necessarily, but I think she believes that it's true. And so that's why I'm inclined to believe what she's saying is true, because there's things that she says that have been over time substantiated, I guess, like the island, right? Like you're saying.
Trudeau.
Yeah, Trudeau.
Dick Cheney. She's in an earlier interview saying that Dick Cheney was part of I think it's called Order of the Rose.
Okay.
And she mentions Dick Cheney. Nobody ever thought Dick Cheney was going to be the vice president.
No. People were like, who is Dick Cheney, when they said Bush Cheney? Who is he?
Yeah, he was not somebody that was in the public eye when he was mentioned as being a vice presidential candidate or to run with Bush, like Dick Cheney, that kind of situation. All right, play a little bit more of her and then we'll move on.
Let's do it.
I'm fascinated by her.
We should try to get her. Yeah, we need to get her on.
I'm trying to get her on. I've tried. I've never had any luck.
I got an email for her.
You do?
Yep.
Oh, if we can get her on, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I got several good guests coming on. They're just down the road, and I've done this before where I've promoted them and then I didn't get them. So I got several good guests that I'm interested in that say they're going to come on. So I'd like to get her too. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got an email for her, and she has a contact form on her website I saw. So we'll try to get her.
Excellent. All right, let's try her.
There we go.
Flown in on one of these operations, and I was to deliver it into the neighboring state of Arkansas. By that time, Bill Clinton's drug operation was in full swing. He was governor of Arkansas, and I delivered this cocaine to a remote airport in Ouachita Forest, which I've since identified as Mena Airport. I also delivered a little package of information and a small quantity in varying degrees.
Oh, dang it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Did you mess that up? I want to go back there if you can find that spot again. I don't know if you can. But she's talking about Mena, Arkansas. Have you seen the movie American Made?
I believe so.
With Tom Cruise?
Yep.
So the entire story is about the CIA bringing in Tom Cruise. I forget the guy's name. And they were using him because he was a pilot. He was a commercial pilot. They bring him into the CIA, and he is doing running drugs from south of the border into the United States. And the whole movie is about Bill Clinton. Well, not about Bill Clinton, about them bringing the drugs into Mena, Arkansas. And here she is.
Mm-hmm. Barry Seal.
30 years before the movie, saying, okay, he was bringing drugs into Mena, Arkansas. It's just kind of things that you look at and you go,
I thought that was well known that Clinton was involved in the.
Well, it is now.
Yeah. Okay. That's what. Yeah.
It is now, but it primarily.
When she's saying this.
Yeah, but primarily because of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie was about Mena, Arkansas. I'd never heard of it before the movie, so I don't know if regular folks had, but I hadn't heard of it before the movie. Go ahead. If you can go back to that spot where she's talking about the Clintons, I think that's really good. People get into
try to find it.
They took their war on drugs to our street corners and turned our streets into a bloodbath. The country music industry provided the cover for distributing the cocaine, so Senator Byrd wanted me to be within the country music industry. Besides that, he fancied himself an entertainer of sorts, and he fiddled with sufficient trauma to carry out my first trial run operation. An enormous quantity of cocaine had been flown in on one of these operations. I was to deliver it into the neighboring state of Arkansas. By that time, Bill Clinton's drug operation was in full swing. He was governor of Arkansas, and I delivered this cocaine to a remote airport in Ouachita Forest, which I've since identified as Mena Airport. I also delivered a little packet of information and a small quantity of cocaine, a personal stash from J. Bennett Johnston, to Bill Clinton. I delivered it to Bill Clinton, and he cut out 2 lines of the coke, and he did inhale. That certainly certainly wasn't the only time I saw Bill Clinton using cocaine. My sexual experience with Bill Clinton was extremely limited, in spite of the fact that I was a sex slave. It was my experience that Bill Clinton is bisexual, leaning far more towards a homosexual end. All I've ever seen him involved in was the homosexual activity, with very limited experience with him myself. Whereas my experience was much more prevalent with Hillary Clinton, because Hillary is also bisexual, leaning more towards a homosexual end, and it was she who accessed my sex programming to fulfill her perversions. Around this same time, J. Bennett Johnston subjected me to some other mind manipulation that involved, instead of an occult theme, an alien theme. Now
check this out.
These guys who are manipulating my mind and programming me for mind control purposes claimed, and these criminals in control of our country as well.
This is 30 years
claimed to
ago.
be gods, demons, and aliens, in order that I feel totally helpless, in order that I felt like they were beyond my realm to affect. And it certainly worked at that time. J. Bennett Johnston told me that he was an alien. He told me that he had been part of the Philadelphia experiment, and when the ship disappeared, it came back a spaceship. This is in keeping with kind of an air-water mirror theme that NASA uses quite frequently, a reversal. Because, again, the subconscious mind doesn't have any reasoning capacity. J. Bennett Johnston then showed me, through his office at General Dynamics, a then top secret stealth. Here was this triangular stealth that wasn't in any of the school books, wasn't being talked about anywhere, wasn't out in the newspapers or anything else. It was being withheld. It was still a top secret weapon system. But I saw this triangular stealth. It looked like a spaceship to me. I'd never seen anything like that. And everything that J. Bennett Johnston was doing and he was involved in certainly was alien to me. So it was easy for me to accept the idea that what was happening was in fact being perpetrated by aliens. I'm not saying that there's no such thing as aliens. That would be foolish for me to even say anything like that at all. But what I am saying is that it was my experience that these were people claiming to be aliens. If there's a reality out there pertaining to any alien influence, we need to sort out the government misinformation and disinformation and mind manipulation techniques that they're using. I know for a fact that the plan is to make all of us feel totally helpless, that what's happening is beyond our realm to affect because we've been taken over by aliens, that our independence day is dawning. So beware of that. Understand that those criminals have been keeping information and technology from us under their blanket of national security. They are 25 years ahead of us at least, technologically. Can you imagine what they've got now? 25 years ahead? What's happened that you're aware of in the last 25 years? Microwave ovens, we've got computerization, and they've had access to all of that to continue their own advancements. They're way ahead. So when they say, it's aliens, and they show us some incredible technology, don't fall into the trap of feeling totally helpless, that this is beyond our realm to affect. Superstition begins where knowledge leaves off.
That's good. Pretty interesting, isn't it, Isaiah?
Oh yeah, it's exactly what's happening.
I want to say, I think this is in 1995, if I'm not mistaken, when she was giving this this presentation. And what she's talking about, aliens. Aliens are back in the news again, right? They're talking about aliens, and we got UFOs, and where have those stories went, Isaiah? Because for the last 6 months, we've been talking about UFOs.
Well, they're still coming. They're still coming. Apparently, that's what they say.
But what happened? Remember, we're going to get all the information about the UFOs. It's just
Mhm.
it's like a narrative that goes out that gets everybody excited. UFOs, and then it kind of just goes away, right?
Yeah.
Just
The
never
second drop, they did a second drop, and it didn't even get any.
happens. I haven't paid attention to it
No
anymore. 'Cause
attention,
you know
yeah.
why? It's just like she said, they want you to feel helpless, and that's exactly what Yuri Bezmenov said when he talked about the 4 stages. They want you to feel like you can't do anything. There's just nothing you can do. And how many Americans go, Rob, what are you going to do? Are you going to save the world?
Yeah.
I'm not going to save the world, but I'm not going to let the world fall apart if I can do something to stop it. It is amazing.
That's what they want you to believe. Oh, what am I? What can I do? How can
What can I
help?
do? That's the whole premise, right? Is what can I do? And that's where people are at. You got to admit, a lot of people are like, oh, just let it fly. Don't pay
That's
attention.
been
to
my
politics.
experience in life, just in general, even like just in business. It's like, oh, what can I do? It's like, well, you can do something. That's what you can do. You can not just sit there and twiddle your thumbs, right?
Yeah, just try a little bit.
That's what I would. That's how I would train people to be more. What's the word I'm looking for? Just more. Like taking ownership. That's what there's a great book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, a Navy SEAL. And I found that in the business world, people don't want to take ownership. They want people to tell them what to do. And if no one's going to tell them what to do, then they just do nothing. Right. And I thought that was really interesting because that people would just default to, oh, well, who am I? I don't know what to do. And who am I? I don't make the decisions. Right. So, what am I gonna do to change this, or what am I gonna do to make this better? And it's like, well, you can do it. You can, anyone can, right? It's like
I think
why
we
that?
have all the power.
Yeah.
We have all the power. We just don't exact it because, again,
Yeah.
you can't get the ants to organize. A small group of people can organize millions of people. It's very difficult to organize them, but through God, there's a way. Isaiah, doesn't the Bible say something about that? Through God, there's an opportunity.
Only through God.
Only
I'm
through
sure there's
God.
a verse. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to God, the Father, except through me, Jesus Christ.
That's why when people say you're black pilled, this and the other, I said, why would it be black pilled? I believe in Jesus. I don't have black pill days. I get frustrated because you want things to progress and you want people to kind of come out of that slumber and start to recognize the world is different than what they have always perceived it to be. And they have to be, I guess, wise enough, strong enough, brave enough to challenge what they think they know, and then think of why they know it. Right?
Yeah.
It's through indoctrination. It's through the schools, which he talked about there, the indoctrination of our schools. It's through the media images and the news, and I put that in quotation marks, that we just believe. We just believe that's the news. We believe that's the history. We don't really think through much of it. But if you do start to dissect it and look through it, you'll find out that most of what you're taught is not true. And then once you realize it's not true, where do you take it from there? That's the question. Like and share, please. Like and share, like and share, like and share.
The most recent example of that, Rob, in my life, I grew up with the food pyramid being
Perfect example.
literally shoved down my throat in school every single day. Posters all over the room, all over the wall. Health class, that's all we're learning about. You got to drink your milk. You got to drink your milk. You got to drink your milk, right? Gotta get your grains in. Gotta get your grains. Protein's bad though. You only need a little bit of that.
Right.
So,
Protein's the best. And
and we're gonna make sugar into the food pyramid too, because it's okay.
My buddy Scott, he is too funny. No, you met Scott. Is he something else? He's 58. I think Scott's 58.
Oh my gosh! I told him, I said, I hope I look as good as you do when I'm your age.
Good. I'd like to look that good now. He's 58 years old. He is he's a workout fanatic. And when I was over at his house,
58 looks 38.
Shoot, he looks 28. He doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. He's got muscles on top of muscles. He's looking at what he's getting ready to eat for breakfast. I go, how do you determine what you eat? And I started talking to him. I said, hey, I got this nutritionist. And he goes, Rob, listen, I know more about the nutritionists, the doctors. I know more than any of them. Kind of joking with me. I go, why you say that? He goes, when I played professional baseball, they teach you how to eat.
Yeah.
He goes, they want their product on the field. So they got the best of the best. And he goes, and I just know how to eat. I know how to exercise. I know when, I know why, I know the time frames. I know everything. He goes, so no need for a nutritionist here. I got it covered.
They've invested invested hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars into figuring out the regiments, the things like that. When I actually just did a tour of the soccer team, the St. Louis City Soccer Club, I did a tour of the stadium. I got to go in the locker rooms and everything like in the behind the scenes stuff. In their locker room, the only two things in their locker room, which I thought was funny, are protein drinks and Red Bulls.
Oh, good. Red Bulls are great for you.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. What are these? But they had this whole section off to the side where it's, a whole physical therapy center, whole beds for doctors to come in and see them. They have all these machines in there, everything. And they told me, they're like, oh yeah, this is just a little bit of stuff. They hang out in the training facility.
They
That's
need
where
that
all the
testing
other,
machine.
yeah, they got so much stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
I got to read this one. I like this. It says, you both are absolutely on target. It's from Dan Hukin. You both are absolutely on target. If this country would mentally leave the political movie theater, two-party division propaganda we could accomplish great things, especially with God as our compass.
Amen.
That's why I work so hard. I do think there's going to be an event, Isaiah,
Yeah.
to where people go, wait a minute, I was cruising, but I did hear this. I did hear this on this show, or I did hear this bit of information. And I think it converges when people start to get a little bit nervous. So long as people are comfortable, they can eat, they're surviving in life. They might be anxious. It might be a difficult life. It might be way harder than it should be. But so long as you're surviving, you're going to let these things slide. It's when tragedy hits, Isaiah, for enough people, that's when there's going to be a backlash against the government. And I think that's why it's a great.
Do you want to know what my theory is?
Give it to me.
I think that they're going to use the aliens to show. I think they're going to use technology to make us think that there's aliens out there like we think of aliens, like little green men. Yeah. I think it's really demons. I do think it's a demonic influence. Truly, I think it's a demonic influence. But I think what's going to happen is a great deception is going to happen where they're either going to say potentially maybe a ship's on the way here, or they're going to show us things in the sky.
I don't think anybody would believe it anymore. Do you?
Well, I think that enough people, I think that if they show it to us enough over and over and over again, where it's basically, you can't deny it because it's so in front of your face, right? Because in the end days, what's supposed to happen is that the Christians are supposed to be persecuted heavily.
That's happening now.
Yes, but I think that this alien thing, what they're going to use this for is that they're going to say, because they've already rolled this out saying they're trying to get pastors to prepare their congregations for different things, allegedly, right?
Ronald Reagan said that would bring the world together.
The aliens?
UFOs, aliens coming to Earth. That's the only thing that would bring the world together.
Yeah. And so I think that's true. I think it would bring the world together against Christianity in a way that people will unite and say, oh, okay, we finally know where we come from. The aliens, they're our gods, really. They created us. So this Bible is not true. It's not true. We can prove that that's all false, right? And actually, the aliens gave us the Bible. I think that's what this great deception is going to be. And that's what's going to spark major persecution against the Christians and the churches, because I think that there are going to be Christians and churches and people like us who are going to stand up and say, no, that's false. That's not true, right? Mm-hmm. And I can see that. This is just a theory, but I can see that being the reason and the story on how the persecution of the church.
You think that'll happen in our lifetime?
I think it can. Yeah.
Elaine's got a good point. She said those who believe in COVID will believe in aliens, and I think that's on target. I don't know how else to put it, but the reason I was talking about brainwashing today was because COVID convinced me that people could be brainwashed. It just convinced me that people could be brainwashed. I mean, I don't believe that you allow the COVID era to go away without some repercussions. You just can't allow that. It was one of my beefs with the radio station is they didn't like me talking about COVID. I'm like, well, COVID was the beginning of the end if we don't stop it. I mean, I want to talk about it and bring it up frequently because I don't want people to forget about the mask on your children, the closing down of our schools, the shutting down of our borders, the mandated medicines, the mandated masks, the mandated everything. It was a forewarning as to what can happen when people don't think. They just don't think at all. That fear gripped a lot of people. And why were people so afraid, Isaiah, with COVID? Did you understand it? It wasn't like we had people falling down the streets in this country, but they sold it so heavy.
Well, I think they just made us feel like our grandparents were going to die if we went.
It outweighed all your common sense.
Yeah.
It just outweighed all common sense, what they were talking about, because even at the height of it, when they were showing, the freezers full of bodies and all this other stuff that they were talking about, there you go. Perfect example. Look at these people. This is under Donald Trump. You know, that's why I say, you know, you got to at least pay attention to Donald Trump just a little bit because I'm telling you, he sold COVID more than Mike Lindell sells him pillows. And I got a video about that a little bit later on. All right, Valvoline Express Care. Valvoline Express Care, my good friend Tony Clark, when it's time for an oil change, it's always Valvoline Express Care. If you need any kind of coupon or if you want to look up their locations, it's Valvoline-Express Care. As he likes to say, it's 15 minutes from Beta on your way. If you are somebody that needs an oil change, you don't want to spend a lot of time, you want to get a good product, you want to get a good price, it is a Valvoline Express Care. Lay up those locations for me, Isaiah. Valvoline Express Care in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Highland, Illinois, Troy, Illinois, Lemay Ferry Road, Warrenton, Missouri, Mid Rivers Mall Drive, St. Peter's Parkway. Best in business. Again, we only do with the best in business. Quick, easy, efficient oil changes. No nonsense, no aggravation, no pressure, no appointments. All Valvoline branded products. And again, you have coupons on Valvoline-Express Care. Get out there and see our good friend Tony Clark. Valvoline Express Care. When it's time for an oil change, it's always Valvoline Express Care. No sticker in your window. We cannot be friends. Can't do it.
Maybe we can get Tony to
people that I've liked before. No sticker in the window. I have to walk away. I can't do it.
Tony, maybe we can get you to make a Rob Carter code for people. We can give them a little coupon.
We're doing a commercial.
Okay, fantastic.
We got a commercial being made. So Ali and Travis, who work with me on People's Lobby, Missouri, they're great with marketing and they're great with doing things that are funny. So she gave me a funny idea for a Valvoline Express commercial yesterday. So they're probably working on it now because they wagged me for $25 a month. They needed some kind of tool for $25 a month. So we just put that together. All right.
Yeah,
ECS. And so my father just sent me pictures. So ECS got their first roof from us. So my father recommended him. So a roof is being put on. Sent me pictures today wearing their ECS roofing shirts.
Thanks for supporting our advertisers, everyone.
100%. ECS Roofing and Exteriors. Again, if you need a new roof, if you need gutters, if you need siding, if you need any kind of contracting work, it is always ECS Roofing. And you can check out their work at ECS Roofing and Exteriors on Facebook. Pop that up for me, Isaiah, and I'll just kind of read through what they got going on. Been in business for 30 years. The key to ECS Roofing, what makes them just a little bit different than any other roofer, is he's going to show up at every job. You're going to get the owner at every job. You're not going to get a crew out there without the owner coming out and making sure everything's set up properly, that they take care of everything. Roofing, siding, decks, gutters, garage doors, custom exterior metal, residential, commercial, new construction, storm damage, free licensed inspection. So if you need just an inspection of the home, just to make sure that your roof is looking good and feeling good, it is ECS Roofing and Exteriors. And again, licensed independent adjuster. This is the difference. You got to pay attention to me here. You're going to have people at some point knock on your door after a storm and say you need your roof repaired, and they're going to work with your insurance companies. I've already been through it in Florida. It's happened to me. They don't know jack diddly. And then you get yourself in a big pain in the butt because I told my wife we're going to get she goes, oh, they always do that, honey. They knock on the door. That doesn't mean. My wife told me that. I said, no, I talked to the guy for like a half an hour. He said he's definitely sure. He works with the insurance companies. Turned out to be a bunch of nonsense. Cost me a lot of time and energy and aggravation. ECS Roofing will tell you whether the insurance companies are going to work with you or not. ECS Roofing and Exteriors, 314-486-3567, 314-486-3567, ECS Roofing and Exteriors. They are the Rob Carter Show contractor for all of your needs. There you go. ECS Roofing and Exteriors. All right, I want to play a couple more clips then I want to get into some AI stuff because I want to tie these things together just a little bit. And don't forget, Isaiah, one more time. Let's get them to like and share.
Like and share.
We got a full hour. We got Jake Jackson.
We are almost to 500 subscribers on YouTube. Once we get to 500 YouTube subscribers, we can monetize the channel and start making money off the videos. So that'd be very helpful.
Oh, yeah. So if you're not on YouTube, go to YouTube, check out The Rob Carter Show and sign up. I didn't even know that, Isaiah, but yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're getting, I mean, it usually takes people a long time to get to 500 subscribers, longer than it took us to where we're at right now. And so I just hadn't mentioned it because I thought it would take us a lot longer than it's taken us to get to where we are right now.
I need to get my buddy Jeff to put it on his feed too. He's got a YouTube channel with like 20, 25, 30,000 followers. And I told him so we should just put the show up there because we're kind of joined at the hip. He's doing the Free Jeff Winehouse series. I tell you about that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Jeff's gonna do
and I don't know if you told me, but I know he was commenting about it. I always see his comments about it. He was commenting about it the other day.
He's going to do a true crime series on Jeff Winehouse.
Yeah.
So we were on the phone
Very
with
good.
somebody who does true crime. They do the true crime already out of Arizona. So we were on the phone with them last night. He goes, "Never heard of such a story." I said, "Well, this is the story.
Do
Shot
you
4
think
times."
Grant and Levi would meet up with us when you're in town sometime? It doesn't have to be this time because we got a lot going on, but would love to go down and record a video with them sometime down at the old gas station.
We can reach out to him.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Levi, I know you're listening sometimes. Grant, I know you are sometimes too. Reach out.
Grant's working. I think Levi might be listening if he's not working.
Yeah.
So Debbie's heading over to YouTube. Yeah, go to YouTube if you can. If you're a daily listener and you're not on YouTube, at some point in the day, just go over to YouTube for us, do us a little favor and sign up, because once we get to 500, then we can start bringing in more income, which just makes the show expand. That's all. Let's do 2 more clips on.
I wrote something down that Kathy said that I do want to say. She said her book, right? It was self-published and uncensored. That's what we're trying to. I thought that was a great thing that she said. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to self-publish. We're trying to. We're not publishing, but get this out here ourselves and be uncensored, and that's how we can help us out.
That's how we can do what we want to do. What's
Tell
up?
them to stop spamming the chat, Jeff.
Who's spamming the chat?
I guess Jeff with the free Jeff Winehouse.
I don't know. Is that Jeff? Did Jeff put that in there?
I get. Yeah, he just said free.
Yeah,
Jeff
he put it right there. That's what. Is that what they're talking about?
Jeff Winehouse. I'm not sure.
I got to figure out what that's all about. So we said we get it. All right.
That's funny.
Let's play. First one I want to show you is Sirhan. Now, Sirhan has widely been rumored to be a part of the MKUltra experiments. All right. So this crime happens. Jolly West, the one we told you was involved in MKUltra, becomes a court-appointed psychologist. And from that point forward, public facing, Sirhan says he has no idea why he shot at or how he was involved or why he was involved with the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy. All right. This is a parole hearing. This is Sirhan talking about it. And you tell me whether you believe him or not. He's been saying this consistently all the way back from the late 60s. But here he is, Sirhan talking about the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy at his parole hearing. Check it out.
Remember about the shooting, if you're willing to talk about that.
Obviously I was there, but I don't remember the exact moment. I don't remember pulling my gun out of my body or whatever it was located, and I don't remember aiming at any human being. I don't remember any of that, Mr. President. And I've said that from the get-go.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not that I'm trying to evade.
No, I understand. Let me just ask you a question. When did you start remembering things? After the shooting? What was the first thought that you had after the shooting?
Everything was always hazy in my head about that. And Attorney Teeter, who passed away, was trying to get a specialist, Dr. Herbert Spiegel in New York, to hypnotize me and to regress me and to do all that.
But when did you start remembering things clearly after the shooting?
I really don't remember things clearly about it, other than Mr.
No, I'm not asking about the shooting part. I'm asking afterwards. When did you start remembering things in reality?
In reality, all the reality of this whole thing hit me when I was on death row facing my own death.
So how many months later was that?
Oh, I would say maybe a year, 2 years.
So you don't remember a lot of things between the shooting and being on death row?
I wasn't too much worried about that, Mr. President. I was worried about saving my own butt from execution.
One of the things that we look at in your case here, and every case is different, was the crime itself. And this indeed, there is, every murder, which is predominantly what we deal with, is horrible. Certainly to the individual and to the perpetrator, that being the inmate. It certainly is horrible to the family. The individuals, you gotta listen here, guy. Individuals lose in a very dramatic, fast way a loved one that can never be replaced. But this crime went far beyond that, and we need to recognize that. Mr. Kennedy was a winning candidate in California, as you know. I'm repeating things we already know. And there was a groundswell that was a very popular groundswell for the hope that he gave some people, a lot of people. So indeed, it wasn't just the Kennedy family, which was certainly large enough and prominent enough, to be of a tragic nature. There was a loss prior to that. There was indeed.
That's not my responsibility.
You're not going to talk in the middle of my. So you're going backwards here, Parker, and you need to stay on track and just listen. I'm giving you our reasons for that.
If I was to give you a piece of paper and a pencil, and I wrote down 1, 2, and 3, and I said, make a list of the people that maybe you feel that you've harmed, who would be number 1 on the list?
Well, definitely the Kennedy family and the Kennedys. I would say that I would treat them all equally, and the victims who were injured in this, and the public, and the Bobby Kennedy's friends, and the people who voted for. This whole thing was it's a horrible nightmare, really, for not just for me, but for you people, and for the whole country, and especially for the family members, and Mr. Wiesel and the others who were injured in this.
Does not seem like a monster, does he?
No. Interesting too is that I didn't
No
know that.
recollection.
Yeah, did you know he's Palestinian?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's why if you think of if you're going to put a story together, you have a Palestinian, right? Because who does that make look bad?
Oh yeah, he's anti-Zionist is what it says. Right?
Zionism, and so he definitely shot. So he definitely came there to kill Kennedy. He just missed. So he took his shots, missed the target, and what's the guy's name? I think Jeff just had it up there. Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar. Thane Eugene Caesar.
And Eugene Caesar was and that's according to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says that now.
Wow.
So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says that the shots came from behind, and all witnesses said that Sirhan came from the front.
It says here too that Sirhan it says some scholars believe that the motivation was a political violence some scholars believe that the assassination was the first major incident of political violence in the United States stemming from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict because Sirhan carried out the attack on the first anniversary of the 1967 Arab-Israeli War.
Exactly.
Quite convenient if you want to frame.
That's what I'm saying. Right. So can I give a kind of a theory?
Yeah.
So you have the assassination of John F. Kennedy, right? When the files were released, and I think if you read through the files, it's very clear that Israel was involved in some way, shape, or form. We did not want to. Kennedy did not want them to build nuclear weapons. He was fighting them on that front. That was a big, big deal at the time.
Which is interesting because do you know who Kennedy's doctor was? Jacobson, Dr. Jacobson.
I don't know the story.
He is a German Jewish doctor, and he took care of a lot of celebrities. Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, JFK.
All the ones that are dead.
Yeah, who's the person that was in the Ten Commandments? I can't remember, but a bunch of celebrities. And he was giving them these vitamin cocktail shots, but it was methamphetamine.
What about Charlton Heston?
Maybe. Oh man. But he was giving them methamphetamines. That's what he was injecting methamphetamines into them. And he eventually lost his medical license right before he died. And so
this is a story I don't know. I like this story.
Yeah. So that's the guy who was JFK's personal physician, and he's injecting him with methamphetamines
because he had the bad back.
Yeah. And so, but I don't think JFK or I don't think any of these people knew that there was methamphetamines in it. It's a vitamin cocktail is what it was called. And so I wonder if that has any nefarious intent as well, just with him being a German Jewish doctor who escaped Nazism.
Right.
Very curious.
Very interesting though. But if you
Dr. Feelgood, that's what they called him. Thank you, Jeff. That's right.
If you go to the
Max too, there we go. See, these two guys, they always know. Dr. Feelgood, that's what they called him.
Who else is in there?
Max.
I don't see Max.
Oh, really? It might pop up in a second. Here, let me throw it up for you.
Yeah, that doesn't show on mine.
Yeah, let me find out. There's a bunch of people. The first name's Max, I think, Jacobson.
Why don't I see it? But if you go back to Sirhan, while you're looking, Sirhan, so Israel is, if they were involved, right? I can't prove it, but if you look at the JFK documents that were released, there's several documents in there that say there was kind of an off the books coordination between Angleton and Israel, and it was kind of off the CIA books that they were having conversations. And then you have the assassination of Kennedy when Kennedy did not want Israel to have the nuclear weapons, Then you have the both Kennedy assassinations, right? So you have Kennedy, then you have Robert Kennedy, then you have Marilyn Monroe, who was attached to him. Then you have Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, both killed. Dorothy Kilgallen, who was the most powerful women work reporters, journalists in the country. She dies in New York, all within that time frame. Then the Congress says, we want to start studying MKUltra and the CIA and what kind of advancements they have, and that's when the whole program goes away. And then we didn't have them like that anymore. We didn't have assassinations at that level like we did throughout the 60s, right after Kennedy gets assassinated. And then you're telling me that Sirhan, right? They framed it as though it was because of the Palestinian-Jewish conflict. He kills a popular Democrat presidential candidate, Robert F. Kennedy, and then the whole frame goes toward the Palestinians are bad again, right? And then Jolly West, who you say was Jewish, was his court-appointed psychiatrist, and now he remembers nothing that happened before, during, or after. Pretty crazy when you think about it. At least it is to me. JonesWater.com, because we've got to bring in Isaiah or Jake in here in a minute. JonesWater.com. What are you looking up? And your microphone must be off.
Jeez, there we go. Can you hear me now?
I can. What were you looking up?
This is Jolly West. I was like, he can't hear me for some reason. That's because I was muted. That's so funny. Yeah, Jolly West, born Ukrainian Jewish immigrant, right here.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yep. And then this is the these are all the people that Dr. Feelgood treated. Here you go, all the celebrities.
Okay, let's look at these celebrities. So this is Dr. Feelgood. So this is a doctor for the powerful.
Yep.
John F. Kennedy, Mel Allen, Lauren Bacall, Ingrid Bergman, Leonard Bernstein, Humphrey Bogart, Yul Brynner, Truman Capote, Montgomery Clift,
Clooney,
Rosemary Clooney, yep, Bob Cummings, C.B. DeMille, Marlena Dietrich,
Judy Garland.
All these people had problems in their life too.
Yep.
Hedy Lamarr,
Marilyn Monroe,
Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, Mickey Mantle. Yeah.
Liza Minnelli. But all these people have had drug issues, it seems. Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, Anthony Quinn. Oh, we got to do a story on this one.
Yep.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
Wow. Tennessee Williams. That's pretty crazy right there.
Yeah. So this is it. Look, this is also where some of these conspiracies come from, right? So Jacobson was.
I did not know this story. I'm too good.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. So miracle tissue regenerator shots, right? Which is consisted of amphetamines, methamphetamines, animal hormones, bone marrow, enzymes, human placenta, painkillers, steroids, and multivitamins.
Party time.
Party time, baby. Party time.
And here, Stream Demon said they thought it was just a song by Motley Crue. Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feelgood, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
JonesWater.com.
JonesWater.com.
Jones.
You don't want Dr. Feelgood. You want Dr. Jones at your house.
Dr. Jones, that's right. I just don't know how people can drink tap water anymore. So let me just start there. If you're drinking tap water in 2026, come on. You got to do better than that. No tap water in 2026. You have to get a water purifier. You just cannot be drinking and eating and doing laundry and cleaning your house with tap water anymore.
I did a tour of the city facilities after I became an alderman. They took me to the wastewater plants and everything like that. Do you know, I didn't know they put chlorine in our water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I found that out because St. Clair is one of the only cities that doesn't have chlorine or fluoride in our water.
That's right.
And
you told me that.
I was like,
wow, that's nice.
I was like, what the heck? Chlorine? What are we putting chlorine in our water? It's crazy.
All right. JonesWater.com. JonesWater.com for all of your air and water filtration needs. All I can say is JonesWater.com. Been around since 1995. He is everybody that I've given leads to that have worked with Everett Jones. Love him. Great family. 636-899-1040. He'll take care of you. Not crazy expensive. You get an air filtration system and water filtration in your home. And then all those doctor bills that you pay for, you don't know why you get these little sinus infections, and you don't know why you're getting these skin irritations. A lot of times it's just water and air, dirty water and air in your home. JonesWater.com, 636-899-1040. As he likes to say, you'll be the filter or you'll buy the filter. If you need his services, and you do, if you need his services and you're on the Missouri side, St. Charles County, Lincoln, Franklin, Warren, St. Louis, and Jefferson. If you go to the east side, the dark side, Madison, Monroe, Jersey, and St. Clair. JonesWater.com. Got to get him on the show. Got to get him on the show soon, as a matter of fact. I think we're having Dr. Helen Gelhart will be on next Friday. We're going to have her on this week, which gets to next Friday. You'll be the filter or you'll buy the filter. Joneswater.com, 636-899-1040. And speaking of Helen Gelhart, who has that air filtration system in her office when you go in, Advanced Wellness MED. She is the doctor for the show. So if you're looking for a good doctor who is not beholden to hospital administrations, she's got great services for you. As she likes to say, we assist the divine healer. Feel, think, look better, live longer. She has the earliest cancer detection blood test in the business. So if you are somebody who has cancer in your family or is just worried about cancer in general, Advanced Wellness MED. Don't go anywhere else. Don't go to the other people. I'm telling you, you're making a mistake, especially when it comes to your health. Work with somebody who is not trapped, that can use all of the resources, can really take care of you the right way. Dr. Helen Gelhart, 314-576-0094. She also has treatments for Alzheimer and dementia. She has symptom reversal. Again, if you have anybody in your family with Alzheimer's or dementia, you got to check out Dr. Helen Gelhart. And finally, if you have any, if you need pre-screening for heart attacks, strokes, she has that service available as well. Dr. Helen Gelhart, our friend, Dr. Helen Gelhart, and her wonderful husband, Paul, 314-576-0094, advancedwellnessmed.com. That's one I just want to stress to people. You need a good doctor as you get a little bit along in life, and you want somebody who does things for the right reasons.
As we just found out with Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah, she put a lot of money aside, Isaiah. You and I like those kind of people. Put a lot of money aside to do things the right way. She didn't take the easy route. She took the hard route. And trust me when I tell you, if you want good care, especially for cancer, strokes, heart attacks, that kind of thing, dementia, Alzheimer's, it is Dr. Helen Gelhart. Okay.
Grace Halling, last one.
We'll do Grace Halling?
It's the last one.
GraceHalling.com, then GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com. One more time, GraceHalling.com. Outstanding customer service, competitive pricing, been around since 1998. Another business has been around forever. Gary and Karen Schneider. So what do you want me to say about your business? But for the grace of God, would not have such a thriving business. Residential customers, trash, recyclables, yard waste, and bulk pickups. And if you're a commercial customer, they have dumpsters 2, 4, 6, and 8 yards. They will take care of you. The best, again, best in business. You'll see their trucks, trash cans, and dumpsters all over St. Charles County because they do great business. GraceHauling.com. Reach out to them at 636-398-8060. 636-398-8060. GraceHauling.com. 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 All right. I want to talk about, we'll move just into AI for a little bit because there's a lot of AI pushback. I don't know if people are watching these videos. They're starting to pop up all over social media. Flock cameras, the tech, this is something that bothers me. Something I'm very worried about is the tech trap. So let's bring in Jake Jackson. He's causing trouble all over the place. And I like it. Jake, there he is. What's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome. I'm having some audio issues. I'm glad to be on. I've got a good setup here, and I'm glad to be on.
Looks good. Looks good. I got to ask you about your, so you got your flock camera. So you made a big splash not too long ago over flock cameras in St. Charles. You gave a great talk about the Constitution and the what these flock cameras can do, stripping away your Fourth Amendment rights. I loved it. I put it out there. I think it started to spread on social media, and now people are starting to respond to it. I think you just put something out to me. I didn't get a chance to read it, but it looks like Bob Onder came out against flock cameras.
Yes, he just came out against it today. He made a tweet, and I was really glad to see it. He saw my video. I sent that to him recently, and I sent him something else recently, and he looked like he liked my tweet, and then he quoted the same the Carpenter versus United States case that I quoted in my speech. So that was
he did.
Cool. Yes,
All
he
right.
did.
I'm going to play one for you real fast before we get too far down the line here. It is, which one is the
cybersecurity one?
Yeah, where is it?
It's number 15.
Oh, there it is, number 15.
The one we just played, the one we played yesterday at the end.
I want to play that. Right? I want to play that for Jake.
Let's do it.
This is what flock cameras have the ability to do. This will blow your mind.
Cameras are bad. Law enforcement now has a system that identifies you based on the signals coming off of every single device you have, and it has a public product page out there right now. I'm Marshall. I talk about cybersecurity news and things that affect everyday people like you, so please follow me to stay informed. It's called Signal Trace, made by Leonardo. It collects your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, your RFID signals from your phone, your smartwatch, your headphones, your car's radio, absolutely everything. Then it builds what they call an electronic fingerprint, and their website gives an example of this. So picture 70 cars drive by one of these systems. Every car has an iPhone, but not every car has the same iPhone model, same smartwatch that's on you, same headphones, same everything else. So it builds a profile based on you, not just your car's license plate anymore. So that combination is unique to you. They don't just need your license plate anymore. They don't even need a picture of your face. They just need the signals that your devices are already broadcasting. It can work in malls, subways, any public place, pretty much anywhere this can work. And then all of that information is going to get stored on a server where it can be searched for later. This isn't some random theory, it's real. There's a product page out there, and I'll put the link in the comments so you can go see it yourself.
How about that? So when you're
Yeah,
talking
this is definitely real. Yes. So I remember during COVID learning about the 2030 agenda, how they just want to monitor us everywhere we go. And, you know, the 15-minute cities, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And as a young person, I really want to own my own property, have my own family, and I want to be free. And I don't want this 2030 agenda implemented. And so I first learned about this flock issue, I would say 3 or 4 months ago, through Ike Skelton. He's running for state senate in Camden County, and he's also the presiding commissioner. And he's very well known in the grassroots. He's very well respected. He's involved at the Capitol, and I saw him there speaking at some committee hearings, you know, like in favor of the cameras in the Senate and the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And I got to know him a little bit more. I actually met him when I was interning with Congressman Onder. And I shook hands with him and met him, and I didn't really know who he was at the time, but as I've gotten to know him over time, I can tell he's a great guy. He values individual liberties. And long story short, apparently in Camden County, they actually banned flock cameras. And he got into a little bit of a kerfuffle where the Highway Patrol, I believe, tried to put one up, and he took it down legally, and they tried to charge him with a crime.
Yeah, state of Missouri came after him. Yeah,
yes, they did.
We've had Ike on a bunch of times now. He's running for Senate. We support Ike Skelton. Have you had pushback from your video? I know you're causing a lot of trouble online with some of these politicians because you get in their face a little bit, which I think is, you drive them crazy, Jake, and you got to take great credit at some level. Did you get a lot of pushback from your video, or was it just praise? I don't know.
Honestly, everyone loved it. People were really raving about it. There's really only very minimal like resistance. Like, you know, if you have nothing to fear, why are you against this? You know, so I believe these are completely unconstitutional, and so I knew about this meeting coming in advance of the county council, and I knew they were going to be considering. It was like a data sharing thing of all the license plate readers in the local municipalities. It was like a data sharing thing. Yep. I'm not 100% sure if it had anything to do with flock cameras. I think it did, because St. Charles County has what I was told by Steve Ellman myself. I talked to him.
He's the county executive in St. Charles.
Yes, and he said there's 29, and they say they're not flock cameras because they operate the system themselves. It's not on the flock like the algorithm or their programming or anything. They say because we control the system, it's safer, and I just don't buy that.
I don't buy it either, and they don't know that they can buy it because they don't know the technologies that they don't know. That's the problem. I want to run through a couple of things for you. I want to get your opinion on them because these are people we know. So Josh Hawley, did you see his video that he put out? Talking about Festus and talking about AI data centers being driven down, because you're against AI data centers and flock cameras. I put those in the same bag together. It's just surveillance.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
We don't like the idea of surveillance. We're not saying that AI in and of itself is a bad thing. We're saying that AI, when it turns into surveillance of its citizens, that's where we have to draw the line because it's unconstitutional. And if we give the government an inch, they'll take a mile, they'll take 2 miles, they'll take 5 miles, they'll take you into slavery if they can, because I always say, that just because of COVID. That's you don't look too far back. I mean, we're just talking about just within the last, we're talking about 5 or 6 years ago. They want to put a mask on your face and make you stay in your house until they got done with COVID, which is a scam that they perpetrated from the beginning. So it's not real complicated to figure out. You do not want to give your government surveillance over you 24/7.
Yeah, I agree.
Period. You don't want to do it. Josh Hawley seems to get it. I made disagreements with Josh Hawley, senator from Missouri, primarily because we couldn't get him on the radio show. And I'm like, I supported you. I gave you money. I helped you get elected. And now I can't even get a radio interview with you. Okay, I get it. Clip number 6, if you don't mind, Isaiah. Let's play Josh Hawley. He's talking about what happened in Festus. This is what's going down. We saw what happened in Washington, Missouri. When politicians and the government does not allow for free speech and does not allow you to address them, I think it creates a kind of a cascading effect from the citizens. They get pissed, it grows, they get more and more angry, and you're starting to see that all over the country when we're talking about flock cameras, and not just flock cameras, but the AI data centers. So Isaiah, if you have it, did Isaiah? I don't know if he's.
Yep.
Okay, it is clip number 6. This is Josh Hawley. I want to get Jake's comment.
The effort involves data centers. And let me just tell you a Missouri story, if I could. Festus, Missouri, is a river town of about 12,000 people, just south of St. Louis. It sits right along the bluffs of the Mississippi River. Now, a couple of months ago, a city council meeting there packed hundreds of local residents into a high school gymnasium. I don't know if you've ever been to a small town city council meeting, to a planning board or commission meeting. People do not come to these things in the middle of the week. They don't come to them ever. They did in Festus that night, and one by one, nearly 40 different citizens went to the microphone and lined up to ask questions. The deal was this. The city council was going to approve a $6 billion data center. The residents had questions, and they spent hours forcing the council members to answer them. Questions like, who pays for the power? What happens to our water? What happens in the end to our town? The city could only answer by pointing to the developer's promises that everything will be okay, promises that the developer would pay for all of it. Standing on those promises, the council approved the project. 1 week later, 1 week, the Festus voters gave the council their own answer. Every incumbent up for re-election lost his or her seat. Every single one. The people of Festus did not ask to be at the center of our national argument about artificial intelligence, but they did prove something our forefathers would have recognized at once. That the choice this country must make is still made by us, not for us. That's the covenant asserting itself. Free men and women refusing to be ruled by promises that they never consented to.
He's good, isn't he?
Yeah, so Senator Hawley, he's interesting. He takes some good stances on some issues and then some bad stances on other issues, and this is a really good stance of his. I really like it.
They kind of all do, don't they, Jake? You know, somebody in the because I know you worked with Bob Onder, and I went to Grace Church with you when you asked him if I'm against Israeli policy, does that make me anti-Semitic? And he said no.
Yeah, I was glad to hear that.
Right, but to which Bibi Netanyahu says that's not true. Bibi Netanyahu says if you don't support the state of Israel, that you're anti-Semitic by definition. Bob Onder was the one that put forth the legislation that allowed for the boycotting of the boycott Israel. Yeah. Right? Wait, are you speaking to him? I'd like to get I'd love to get him on the show because I want to understand. To me, that is so unconstitutional that it just baffles me that these anti-free speech laws are just flying through every state in America. And, you know, Bob Onder, we like Bob Onder. I'm a Bob Onder. I have no ill will toward Bob Onder. But that is a law that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like they get either money or pushed into these things. Any chance you can get him on the horn, see if we can get him on the show? I'd love to ask him about that one particular issue.
I agree with you 100%. And sometimes he responds, sometimes he doesn't. So I just try to reach out to him about the flock hammer thing, and I hope I can get his support on it. We'll see. But I'm really glad that he came out on the flock issue. And he also voted against the kill switches. So he does some good things. But I do disagree with him on the data centers and the and Israel.
Is he for the data centers?
Yes, he is, unfortunately.
He's for the data centers, and he is for the the anti-discrimination was what they call it, anti-BDS, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. I really like him as a person, and he is the right guy in there, but he has some different stances sometimes. I think he tends to side with like the establishment, not like the Rhino establishment, but the more conservative side. Like there's an establishment, like there's a Trump establishment. There's like a Freedom Caucus establishment. I would say he's part of the Freedom Caucus Trump establishment.
Yeah, he's with Freedom Caucus when they said they were going to organize. He was the keynote speaker down there in St. Charles. All right, I want you to see this. This is one, I don't know if you've seen this, but we got to spread this on social media. So I ask everybody when we get this out. This appears to be true. Somebody put a Facebook post up. Have you seen this builder who says that these AI data centers don't even need water?
That sounds unfeasible. I would have to look into it because the servers produce so much heat. They need water and a fan on them to keep them cool, like an enormous amount of water. So I'm skeptical unless it's like a normal like non-AI data center.
Tell me what you think of this. It's clip number 8. It's starting to go viral. I found it last night. I thought, well, this is very interesting. I got to see what Jake thinks of this particular situation. AI data center. A builder comes up. It's at a town hall kind of meeting, and says, "I build these things. What they're doing is a lie." Here it is, clip number 8, Isaiah.
My name is Doug Seavey. I live at 3392 64th Street, Palo, Iowa. I've called the mayor and suggested that I get put on some kind of a committee because I'm Palo's resident expert. I build data centers. I own data centers. I built the first private data center in the state of Iowa, and everything that Google is telling you is BS. I have a data center right now that's running in Hiawatha, and I have been there 14 years and have never used 1 gallon of water. What Google isn't telling you is they don't want to use the technology because it costs more. They're going to burn through the water, and when it's done, and they don't care. Then they'll put the money in. And so I can guarantee you, if you guys want to start a committee, I'll volunteer because I'm the expert. I build them. I'm working on one right now. I'm working on one in Milwaukee. I live here, and if I told you on the phone, I called you and talked to you, and I said, you should really let me help you. I never heard anything back. And I warned you. I said, my well goes dry. I'm coming after you because I know what's going on. And you can't do this. You guys have to say no water. They don't have to have it. I mean, to give you an idea, you people, how many people in here have heard of Unity Point Health? Okay, all right. I have 100% of their IT in my data center, and I've never used a gallon of water. And I'm the most efficient data center in the world. So this is all crap, and you guys don't want to listen. In fact, I called you and said, maybe we should talk. Never heard back from you.
Shocker.
So if you guys want to put a committee together, you can call me. I'll tell you the truth, and I can explain everything to you how this works, because they're lying to you. Big time. There's absolutely no reason to use a gallon of water. And the same thing on the efficiency of the electricity. They're doing the cheapest way they can. All they want to do is get the gravy, and when it turns to shit, they're gone. Google is not our friend. So anybody wants to talk to me, I'll sit over here afterwards and I'll explain it to you. So if you would like, I would be more than happy to be on your committee to work on this because I am the expert. I build them. I know. Thanks.
Thank you, Doug.
See, I think he's saying there's a technology to where they don't need to do it the way they're doing it, but it's cheaper to do that if they can get public water.
Yeah, trust the experts. So, so he says that he built data centers for 14 years. So there is a difference between the AI data centers
and the hyperscale
and normal data centers. And so my issue is the hyperscale AI data centers that are really a major issue. Yeah. They cause local issues. So the data center in Festus, that was originally supposed to be in St. Charles, and we stopped that.
Really? So that's
did you know that? Yeah, that was so it's Google. And they're working through like Clayco, who's the one that builds it. Right. And they tried to push it in St. Charles last year. And that's when I first got involved in a data center issue. And it's because of Bill Eigel, actually, because he opposes data centers and he's a Freedom Caucus member. And they pushed it last year, and he made some posts telling us there was like an expo. And so everyone went, and there was like, conservatives, and there was liberals there too. And so they ended up withdrawing the proposal. And I went up and spoke, infamously, and I called on the mayor to resign because the way he handled that was really disgraceful because he was secretly pushing it and he was for it. And then he just kind of backtracked and blamed the developers, and he just took no accountability for it.
Yeah, you've been getting a lot done lately. So you were the one because I played your video too when you went up before the mayor. What was it? Was it the mayor? What group were you talking to in St. Charles where you gave that fiery speech about the AI data centers?
Yeah. So that was last August in front of the St. Charles City Council. Yes.
Okay, St. Charles City Council. That caught my attention. I think I was on the radio at that point. I had you come on the radio because I thought that was so fantastic. Mm-hmm. And here you are again doing the same thing with the flock cameras. So I'm just saying you're effective, right? You're effective. Okay. You're getting the information out. People are starting to pay attention to it. I give you a lot of credit because nobody else is doing it. So
someone has to do it. And these Republicans, like, have you heard any Republican politician come out against the flock cameras except for maybe Bob Onder? Now, nobody is coming out against it.
In the meeting, and that
Yeah.
debate, he said that he was against them.
Yeah, and so I forced that question. That question would have never been asked if I didn't submit
Correct.
that question to News Talk. So I created that conversation.
You want some credit for that, don't you?
A little bit. I submitted the question, but
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing.
yeah.
No, I mean you should get credit for it, because again, for people like us, people,
if you wouldn't have asked, no one would have known.
That's right. If you're,
I know.
and that's why, I'm glad that you're a part of People's Lobby Missouri. It's interesting, Jake, because you and I talk about it on occasion. You get after these people a little bit. I'm confrontational. You really, what's the best word for the way you do it? You are, you pick scabs. You really get personal with these people and get after their tail. But it's usually on social
Jesus
media.
did too. Isaiah, how many times did Jesus insult people in the Bible?
Oh, a lot. calls the Pharisees snakes and vipers, and
yes, and pigs, and he called his entire generation children of the devil or something. So
yeah, he calls the disciples. He says the disciples are sleeping on the watch. What are you guys doing, you losers? Basically.
Yeah, it's true. The Bible isn't like rosy, sunshine and rainbows.
How would they come back at you? Because I've seen some of the messages that you get, and that we can't. I don't want to share your messages, but you share them with me every now and again, and how some of these politicians respond to you, and it blows me away. I am fascinated. You're 26 years old.
Yeah.
You're a 26-year-old guy involved in the political environment. You were on Bill Eigle's campaign when he was running for governor. You were on Bob Onder's campaign. You were in the political game. You're like, I was kind of giving you trouble a little bit, because when you and Isaiah were at the Senate when we went up there, you're like a kid in a candy store when you go up there. You love the political game.
I do. Yeah.
It's what you want to do for life, and I encourage you to continue on that path. And you are the one getting you're the one getting stuff done. But these people do not like it when you're getting stuff done. They certainly don't like it when you get personal. It's funny, they'll attack you. They'll call you crazy. They'll call you Democrats. Though they start trying to label you. You're in bed with China. You love
it's ridiculous.
You love Islam. If you say you don't agree with Israeli policy,
it's a false dichotomy.
That's what they do
did that with Israel. Now they're doing it with the data centers. As you can see, Tim Jones, what he's doing, and Kirk Hilsinger trying to create a false dichotomy. There's no dichotomy. It's a local issue. The data centers.
I got to send this to I play it. This is the greatest video. I saved it, but we didn't have it.
Getting signatures for the
that was it.
Flock camera band right there. Wearing the freedom shirt. You see that, Rob?
Yep, I'm wearing your shirt.
There it is. Looking good. How many do we have? I said you got over 100 physical ones, didn't you?
Yeah, I have 100 physical ones. Yes, and I'm aiming for 1,000.
All right, I'm going to send this. I want to show this. We got to watch this video.
I did want to promote D-Flock St. Charles for anyone who doesn't know about it.
Yes, that's my group.
So it's a new group that Jake created. Here, I'll share my screen so you can see search for it, D-Flock St. Charles on Facebook. We'll have Rob post it later on Facebook for everyone, so they can, the link on there can be easy to access. But go to D-Flock St. Charles if you are specifically, if you're a part of the St. Charles County, that would be very helpful. Especially Jake, he needs physical signatures from people that are in St. Charles, and so reach out to him through the group there. Any way they can reach out to you, any other way besides Facebook, Jake, to get signatures to you.
Yeah, so those signatures are in support of my resolution. So my resolution, I put that together. It's basically a proposal to ban the flock cameras in St. Charles County. And what I'm looking for is a member of the council to sponsor it. And so these signatures are behind my proposal. It's 17-76, because I believe 1776 is the answer to 1984.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
I got a little promo, and then we're going to play some videos for you. Just stick around with us for a little bit.
Yeah.
We the Free People. This is Tammy Brinkman. So We the Free People will be at Moe's this Sunday from 9 to 5. Or no, from June 9th. I'm sorry. We the Free People event at Moe's Sunday, June 9th.
Event, 9 to 5.
Yeah, from 5 to 7. So it's from 5 to 7. We're going to learn. She says we're going to learn about real ID, what it is and isn't, and why it's dangerous, and discuss the constitutional sheriff resolution that just passed out of legislature this session. Doors open at 4:15. So if you are in the area of Washington, Missouri,
that's about real ID.
It's about real ID. June 9th from 5 to 7. So if you have listeners that are in the area and you want to go, We the Free People, love them. We the Free People. That's Tammy Brinkman. We the Free People at Moe's. Get yourself some pizza and salad bar. June 9th from 5 to 7. We the People at Moe's. We the Free People event at Moe's. Okay, want to get that out for Tammy, and then I wanted to get a couple of these in for you. AI data centers in Florida. Okay, Check this out, Isaiah, because I think this is fuel for us when we talk about talk to our politicians. Because what are they doing? Why are they pushing so hard? Do you have any understanding of this? Do you think there's money involved behind the scenes? It has to be, right, Isaiah?
Oh,
Isaiah.
yeah.
There's Isaiah. I keep wanting to say Isaiah, and I'm looking at Jake as I'm saying that. But Jake, you think it's money too, don't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at like Jeffco Patriot Radio, so to speak, like for a month, they were posting little clips of Bob Clark, who's a Democrat, by the way, nonstop for a month. I'm just like, why are you sharing that nonstop, especially with the negative engagement? Like barely any likes, negative comments, unless you're getting paid to do it.
Are you noticing that, because people are listening around the country, I just want to give you an idea of what's happening in Missouri. The politicians that go out onto social media and they're pushing the AI data centers, they're pushing the tax reform that they have. I'm looking through it, and it's almost entirely negative feedback.
I know.
Nobody wants it.
The income tax thing, here in Missouri.
Right, that's on their pages. They're getting almost 100% negative feedback. Isaiah and I were talking about it yesterday. The greatest thing that is happening right now in the state of Missouri and maybe around the country, I don't know, is people are starting to wake up. They are starting to wake up and recognize that they can put enough pressure on government to make change. It is when you feel like you can't get anything done that everybody just throws their hands up. But you apply enough pressure to government and they will break. They will break. They're just people. They're just like me and you. And if they think that they're going to have too much heat come down on them if they sign a particular piece of legislation and that heat will not go away. Problem in the past, I think, Jake, is that we fight, we lose, and then we just move on to another topic. You got to drive that home. You got to meet them where they're at, and you got to stay on them, and you got to be relentless, and you got to make them crazy, and you got to make them feel uncomfortable every day.
That's why I do what I do. In the Bible, it talks about iron sharpening iron. So what I'm doing, it's not that I really want to hurt these politicians. It's just to try to get them back on track to true conservatism. So with all these ballot issues, I'm a hardcore conservative, and I support IP reform, abolishing abortion, and reducing any taxes. I'll sign on to it. But these issues, like these like Amendment 5, and I'm very uncertain about Amendment 3, and I'm just not excited about these issues. So I'm pushing my own issues, like the flock camera thing. That's really important because our rights are at stake.
I'll help you any way I can with that one too.
Yeah, so I went to this event last night, and I was listening, but I'm just not excited about these amendments that they're pushing, and I think they're just all going to fail brutally, and they're just going to have to learn their lesson.
Well, that's if we have real elections. That's the other problem we got going on.
Yeah, that too.
I will say if it does not appear the people of Missouri are behind the tax deal.
They're not.
It doesn't appear that that's the case. We'll see how it plays out, but I don't think that they do. I just sent you a video, Isaiah.
Oh, it's ready. I got it queued up already. We're ready.
Did you see this? The Tim Jones one? Did you see it?
Oh, where he was in a hard hat or something?
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
So if you're around the country, this is former Speaker of the House, Tim Jones, and he does radio at News Talk, where I used to work. And I'm not a Tim Jones hater. I know a lot of people don't like him because he gets himself in the middle of a lot of political conversations, and he's not in Jefferson City anymore. So he puts on a hard hat. He goes out with some local political official.
And Heather Overstreet did it too.
Yeah, Heather Overstreet did too. Did she have a helmet on when she did it as well?
Pardon?
Did she have the helmet on when she did it as well?
Yeah, she did. She did. Yeah.
Maybe this gives credibility. I don't know. But here is Tim Jones, former Speaker of the House, going out and doing a short video trying to sell people on data centers. This is what it looked like. Check it out.
It's Tim Jones here of the Tim Jones and Chris Harp Show every Monday through Friday on St. Louis's News Talk STL 1019 94.1. Also, the co-host of Jeffco Patriot Radio. I'm here with a Jefferson County councilwoman.
Hi, I'm Lori Erin, the county councilwoman for the Arnold and Imperial areas. Tim and I are standing outside of a data center outside of Kansas City. We hear the train, the birds, the traffic. We hear very little else.
This is a multiple data center campus. It is owned and operated by Google. The reason we have the helmets and the vests on is not because the data center is going to get us, but because we were at one of the construction sites earlier. We are approximately 500 feet away from the first data center building, which is right behind us. We've been told, and it looks like this is approximately 500 feet. Those tall towers, those are the cooling towers. They're on a closed loop water system, and large fan. They bring the water up to the cooling towers. The fans blow on the water, and then the water goes back into the system. So the sound,
Just like a car radiator system.
if you can hear the sound at all, Lori, I think it kind of sounds like one of those apps you would buy to help yourself go to sleep at night.
I have a fan that runs in my room all night long. It's louder than what I'm hearing right now.
So we don't know what it sounds like in the middle of the night here, but if you look around, if you're able to look around here a little bit.
Around you.
Wait, I just have to stop that. Are you kidding?
Stop though, because I just want to stop real fast before you go.
We don't know what it sounds like at night, but trust us.
I don't know if
it's
that is that an AI data center.
I don't know. They say it is. That's 500.
They won't specify because they're trying to make like this whole data centers like they're all like they're trying to say we're saying they're all bad, and that's not what we're saying.
Right. And in this particular deal, though, you can hear the hum.
Yeah.
So what they're talking about is when you build it in somebody's community. Now, if you're building it out in the middle of nowhere and it hums like that, who could care? But what they're talking about is building this right on top of people's homes. And these people that hear this buzzing sound, because they're about 2,000 feet away. He said 500, but he's never played baseball because 400 feet's a home run. You can't hit a baseball from where they're standing to what they're seeing in the background. You can tell that's pretty obvious. So to say they're 2,000 feet away, you can still hear the hum as they're talking. Listen to it. And they're 2,000 feet away. And they're trying to sell you on the idea. You hear zzz. You can hear it in the background.
He is such a car salesman.
On the video. But why is Tim so why is he pushing this so hard? There has to be, I don't really understand. Does Tim think that we need AI data centers so bad that he has to talk about it pretty much every day?
It's got to be money. I can't think of any other reason. Like, I don't know why you would take an unpopular stance against this. Like, that's why I'm trying to warn these politicians, because this is just going to crush these Republicans in the elections.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that lady that Tim's standing with, I just looked her up. She wasn't elected at all. She was appointed.
By who?
She was, let's see. So she was appointed. Lori Aarons was appointed to fill the vacancy in District Number 3 on January 29th, 2024, when Shannon Otto resigned. It doesn't say who she was appointed by.
Jeffco is so corrupt. They're all bought out by the union and the data center interests.
Yep. But I just wanted to point that out, considering Dave Schatz appointed, now Lori Aarons appointed. It seems like a theme.
Very interesting. You know, I don't know what's going on there. I just wonder. That's all I said. Just that, because you're right. You know, if you pay attention to was it Jeffco Patriot Radio?
Patriot. So
PAY.
But they are they're constantly pushing the data centers. I know they put those little clips out on the social media, and they're well produced.
It is nonstop for like the past like 2 months.
Yeah, and it's always negative feedback underneath. It's constant negative feedback. That's why I don't know why they keep doing it. Almost better to be quiet about it.
Yeah, it's on data centers, anything on flock cameras that they try to defend, and the Amendment 5. I rarely see any positive comments. It's typically 99, not just 90, but like 99% negative comments.
A couple things for Jake while we got him. Clip number 10 is Nancy Pelosi. Did you see this by chance, Jake? That Nancy Pelosi. So somebody from Lindell, from Mike Lindell's outfit, they tracked down. And the reason I say it to you is because I think you get confrontational with these politicians, and I like when reporters do what she's doing. I like when they do what you're doing. I like it. I just think that's what journalism is. Journalism is supposed to aggravate people every now and again. It's supposed to be a check on power. That is the point of journalism, is a check on power.
We the people are the check on power.
That's it. Without us, there is nothing, right? So you can't rely on media. You can't rely on this. You have to rely on the people to enforce their will to their government, and primarily just to uphold the Constitution. But this lady, she is with Mike Lindell's outfit. I forget what it's called, Lindell TV. And she corners Nancy Pelosi as she's walking through the halls of Congress and starts asking her about January 6th. Remember the story, Jake, where they said they were Donald Trump asked for 10,000 soldiers or 10,000 cops to be on the streets. Nancy Pelosi said she wouldn't do it. And then Nancy Pelosi's in the back of her car with her daughter, and she says, basically says that she told them not to give the 10,000 troops, right? So she admitted on this clip. And then this woman's asking her about it, and then watch Nancy Pelosi's reaction. This is what you get sometimes when you're dealing with people in power. Look at how just obnoxious Nancy Pelosi is. Check this out.
Pelosi, last time I asked you about January 6th, why you turned the National Guard away on January 6th, you told me to shut up and that I was repeating Republican talking.
Shut up again because you're speaking lies.
You're right here. You're right here.
You got her Ukraine pin on.
Saying, no, I'll admit it.
No, I did not admit it. The president never sent would agree to send the National Guard. Don't waste your time or mine on you.
Why was your daughter filming you on January
Why
6th?
don't you get away?
These are just questions the American people want answers to.
No, you know what? I don't even think you're a real journalist. You work for Mike the Pillow Man.
What a
Actually, I
whack
do,
job.
and we're very proud.
I don't consider that journalism. Mike the Pillow Man, that's not journalism. I don't have any reason to talk to you.
He'd love to give you a free
I want you to
pillow.
record this. I want people to know that you're not a real journalist. You work for Mike the Pillow Man,
Allison
and
is
all
real
you
journalist.
do is spout untruths. Get away
You
from
can
me.
insult me all you
Get
want,
away
but
from me.
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Congresswoman.
When I have no argument, they just
We'll give
resort
you
to
my pillow so you can
Yeah.
have a nice sleep tonight, okay? Take care.
She's amazing.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I actually had a similar encounter with Cindy O'Loughlin. Cindy O'Loughlin is very much like Nancy Pelosi.
What'd she say to you?
I was with a few other individuals. I won't name them, but she kind of approached us, and she was kind of combative. And I asked her, Cindy, you have a super majority of Republicans. Why can't you guys get conservative things done? When we were in that Senate together, me, you, and Isaiah, we saw those Republican bills being brought up, and then Democrats tacking on amendments.
Right.
No Republicans were there to resist them. That's how it works in the Missouri Senate, and that's why they don't have cameras.
Did she give you any answers?
No, she was like, do you have a family? And I was like, yes. And she was like, do you all agree on everything? I was like, no, but we're part of the same party, and we're supposed to have the same principles and values. So
It's that simple.
yeah, it's that
I
simple.
mean, I agree with her to a degree, right? You want people to be free thinking, but we're talking about the fundamental foundation of Republican thought, conservatism. They can't get anything done. Right?
Yeah, Republican values say cut the budget, no
Small
more
government.
government,
Yep.
right? And all we're doing is expanding the government, increasing the budget. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. So with Amendment 5, what they want to do is suspend the Hancock Amendment or partially suspend it for 5 years. I don't even think they have to do that. And that's against the Republican platform. It's in the Missouri platform.
Yeah, that's been the argument. Give me a couple more here. So
Sure.
clip number 11. Now this is so James Fishback.
Oh, I
James
love him.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like James Fishback. He's running for governor in Florida.
Hopefully he loses governor and we can get him to be the president.
Yes, that's kind of what I want, honestly.
Well, here, check this out, because he's catching Byron Donalds talking about AI data centers, and he catches them talking about the surveillance storage. This is my argument. I know a lot of people say it's the water, it's the air, it's going to pollute the ground, it's going to mess up neighborhoods. I say that may all be true, but what's worse than that is a total surveillance state. People don't understand. The reason that is important is not because I don't do anything, Rob. What do I care if there's cameras out there? Well, I mean,
they can falsely accuse you. There was literally that lady in O'Fallon where she went up and spoke, and her husband was targeted. By the way, I wasn't able to reach out to her. I think she was unfortunately very freaked out about me sharing that video and people sharing her information with me. She was really freaked out, unfortunately, and I was not able to reach her.
And that's crazy because she's scared of her government, which is even crazier.
Oh, yeah,
right.
She probably didn't trust me because I'm a conservative. I don't have no idea, but she was not interested in contacting, in touch with me.
The thing I want to get across, though, and you and Isaiah, when you're talking about this, just think about this, because everybody's going to the environmental impacts of AI data centers. Just think of what you can do if you have control of all of the surveillance. You have the ability to go, let me check out Jake Jackson, and just press a button. And it tells me Jake Jackson, and it tells me what your search history is on your phone, where you drive, where you go, who you're associated with. Everything is there for me to look at. The problem that it causes is you cannot organize against your government anymore. It's not about that you're doing anything wrong. Do you think the CCP is ever going to get taken out in China? It's impossible now. It's a total surveillance state. And they want to bring that to America because the power structure wants to be in power. The same power structure that is trafficking in children, the same power structure that left our borders wide open, the same power structure that gave you needles in your arm, the same power structure that sold you COVID, the same power structure that sold you global climate change, the same people that are stealing elections. You don't want them to have total power. It's not about whether you do something wrong and you think, well, I obey all the rules. There's nothing they can do to me. I'm perfectly fine. But it is a surveillance technique that keeps people from organizing against their government. They can do anything they want when they can surveil you 24/7. And when we get to that point, you don't have
the future of what can possibly to do because this is just like the groundwork. And I was just texting last night with a council member in St. Charles. I won't name him particularly, but he says, I don't consider like what could happen in the future. I'm like, that's concerning, dude. Yeah. That's very concerning. I expect you to do that as a leader.
Sounds like a sharp person. All right. Clip number 11. James Fishback, he posted this. He said, this is disqualifying. That was the title of this post. and it is a little excerpt of Byron Donalds, who is the favorite of Donald Trump again. Byron Donalds is a complete and total charlatan, and it's another person that Donald Trump is endorsing.
DeSantis didn't endorse Byron Donalds though.
Nobody likes Byron Donalds.
Yeah.
The only reason Byron Donalds is
He
going to
said
win.
abortion was a medical procedure and that it's fine. The laws are fine as they are.
He was pushing the George Floyd nonsense. He was pushing the George
That's
Floyd
true.
crap.
Yeah.
All right. So here is what he caught Byron Donalds talking about, because he gets to the surveillance, because James Fishback is with me. It's the surveillance. Everything else is important. I'm not saying it's not, but the surveillance is what they want. That is the scary point. Don't let them get off that stump, because that's where the problem ultimately is going to be.
Right.
That's where the problems are going to be if we don't stop it. James Fishback, short clip, 20 seconds. Check it out.
I think it's 8 seconons.
Is it?
The data centers in particular, the surveillance aspects, let's be very clear. That data is going to be stored somewhere.
And that's something. He talks about the surveillance. He goes, that data is going to be stored somewhere.
Yeah.
Why
And
do
some
you
of
need
these block
surveillance?
systems are using AI, and whenever they're looking for someone, like say they're looking for like a green Toyota or something like that, they'll look for a green Toyota in the area. Maybe that car's not even associated with them, and it'll flag them for a crime that they did not commit and accuse them of a crime.
Yeah. Well, they can do whatever they want, because with AI, you can manipulate the video.
And AI is not accurate. It's very flawed.
Right. So, but they can manipulate videos right now. So, for example, if I want to take, if Jake is a pain in the ass, right, and I'm in a position of power in government, I could take a video and just alter that video through AI and then frame Jake. And who's going to know the difference? You're going to go, well, law enforcement said so. There's just nothing I can do. And you're like, well, that's not even a real video. That's not a real video. Too bad.
Here's a great AI video. Great AI video here.
Let's go data centers. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, you guys are going to get me in trouble. I won't even.
That was so good. So the photo of that was made by someone else, but I turned it into a video.
Oh my God, you guys are going to get me in trouble. All right, I got a couple more for you. This is off the topic, though. I just want to get your, before we end the show, a couple things I want to talk about. The first one is the USS Liberty. It's number 9. So we just had Phil Turney on. He is one of the surviving members of the USS Liberty attack by Israel on June 8, 1867. We absolutely love him. I've had a few people from the USS Liberty survivors group on the show. And now Thomas Massey on Monday is going to finally, for the first time in congressional history, acknowledge that Israel bombed a USS spy ship as our ally, bombed and killed slaughtered 34 people.
You guys going for that?
We're going to try and go. We're making sure that Phil Turney's going. If he's going, we're going to go up on Monday. We'll take the show up, but we'll be up there. If you want to come on. It's pricey. Looking at the flights, it's a little bit pricey.
I see.
But we're going to try and get people up there. I want to go. If he's going to be up there on the 8th, we're going to be there. But here's Thomas Massey. This is a post that he put out yesterday. I don't know how many views it has now, but yesterday,
2.4 million.
2.4 million views already. Look at this. So can you read that?
Yeah. On June 8th, 2026, I'll speak on the floor of the House to honor and memorialize the brave crew of the USS Liberty who died and were wounded in an unprovoked attack by Israel on June 8th, 1967. Catch my speech on C-SPAN.
Bring it. I cannot wait. So either we're going to be there or I'm going to be watching on C-SPAN, but I can't wait for those people to finally get their justice, right? Finally be acknowledged by somebody in our government.
That was a grave misjustice. You know, those were innocent men that were killed.
Absolutely.
And there needs to be real justice for them.
Has to be justice.
I want to stand for that as a young person.
Phil Turney says right here, to our knowledge, this will be the first time any member of the Congress has ever spoken on the floor about the USS Liberty without excusing it as an error or an accident, as Senator Jacob Javits did when he spoke on the floor of the Senate before the blood on our decks was dry.
You know, they got a Javits Center. So when he says Javits right there, there's a Javits Center in New York. We used to hold our shows there back in the day at the Javits Center. So again, if you play the establishment game, they give you buildings named after you. They do all kinds of nice things for you.
Yeah. And if you're not a part of the establish, just want to point this out. See, this is Cam Higbee. Cam Higbee gets $7,000 for posts from Israel, photographed with the Netanyahus, right? Yep. And he's out here trying to debunk Phil Turney. He debated with him, and he says he destroyed Phil Turney, right? Destroyed. So you're going to trust some kid who works for PragerU and is cozying up and gets paid $7,000 per post and is a part of the MAGA group text that Ashley St. Clair was talking about, Rob, just so you know, that's what he was a part of. So, and he thinks he knows more about the USS Liberty than the guy who was there. Interesting.
I don't know how you can put up with it. I got to see that, though. You got to send that to me. I have not seen that.
Absolutely. I want to say he does a good job at the beginning of honoring that they're veterans and things like that, and that an attack did happen. So he did a good job of that. But I think it's just, I would never go to Phil Turney, even if I felt something maybe didn't line up necessarily. I, as a 34-year-old, would not say, hey, I know more than you, man, even though you were there, you veteran. What do you know, right? That just rubs me the wrong way. That's all. Sorry.
Would not be my speed, that's for sure.
Yeah.
A couple of the video of the day. So Trisha Hope is a friend of mine. She's been on the show before. I used to say she was the biggest Donald Trump supporter the world has ever known. I think she went to like 60 of his events, and now she's very adamantly against Donald Trump. She said, she'd met him. She had 2 books out about him, and she said something's not right. She said she started to realize it during the Epstein cover-up, as she felt it was a cover-up. So she posted this the other day, and I checked it out. I want to get your guys' opinion on it. This is Ron Wyden, Senator Ron Wyden, talking to what is Bessent? Is Bessent the
Secretary of Treasury?
Secretary of Treasury. Okay. Listen to this back and forth. This is how our government works, and you got to watch it just a little bit. So Ron Wyden is going to make accusations, and then Bessent shoves it right down his throat. Check this out.
Here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
Should I just proceed? I'm going to proceed with my questions, and Mr. Secretary.
Should I just proceed?
Is that the greatest ever? So Ron Wyden is going after the Trump administration, and Scott Bessent is giving testimony, and Scott Bessent says, your son and George Soros were working together as he was begging for money from George Soros based on your limited credibility. That's our government right there. And the guy doesn't want to respond to that. The guy doesn't want to respond because George Soros was making deals on behalf of the government through his son, and that's why he didn't want to respond to it. And then you have, let's check out number 12 with Kushner and Rubio. Number 12, let's get that one out of the way. Just how this government works is just so incredible. So the son, so that Ron Wyden doesn't get in any trouble, is working with the government through, so Ron Wyden, who's a senator, his son is dealing with the government contracts through George Soros, as he said, begging him for money. It's just incredible.
That's not a conflict of interest at all. Right?
They all do it, and nobody seems to care. It's so corrupt. How do you pay taxes to this government? I don't understand it. All right, Rubio and Kushner, number 12.
Private equity firm Affinity Partners has raised more than $6 billion since it was founded in 2021, including $1.2 billion just over the last year. Mr. Secretary, are you aware of how much of that $6 billion has been raised from foreign nationals?
I don't know anything about
and the answer is 99%. These include sovereign wealth funds operated by Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. The Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund is the largest investor in Affinity Partners. In fact, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman personally recommended that Saudi Arabia invest in Affinity Partners. The Crown Prince has also personally urged President Trump in multiple phone calls to continue the ongoing war of choice in Iran. Let's put it another way. The man who bankrolled Kushner's business venture is the same man who is lobbying for the war Kushner is tasked with ending. Mr. Secretary, same question. Are you concerned about any conflict of interest by Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law?
Again, in Jared's case, Jared is a private citizen who's been advising and participating in this voluntarily. He's not compensated for it or in any way. But I've never seen from either Steve or Jared on the contrary. All I've ever seen them do is put tremendous amount of time and energy into trying to solve problems, like the amount of time they put into Gaza and the board of peace and all of that process. I think I believe they've done it out of the kindness and goodness of their heart. They think they're serving the country.
The goodness of their heart. Mr. Secretary, what Jared Kushner said.
Can you imagine? So what he's laying out for them is there's a fund, $6 billion goes into to the children of Donald Trump. So the children are involved in a $6 billion fund. The money is coming from countries that want the war with Iran. At the same time, Jared Kushner, or it's coming to Jared Kushner's fund, I should say, because he's the son-in-law. So the money's coming into Jared Kushner's fund, and it's coming from states that want the war with Iran to continue. At the same time, Jared Kushner is the liaison with Steve Witkoff to stop the war. Now, you make sense of that for me. And then,
I'm really dismayed with how Trump decided to go to war with Iran. You know, Charlie Kirk was really against it.
Yep.
And I was with him, and then he was killed for some very unusual reasons. And I'm still against it. I'm not going to change my principles just because of one politician. And I'm really dismayed with this Iran war, and I'm trying to reserve some judgment to see how this turns out first. I'm not going to say like Trump is compromised or anything.
what about the grifting, Jake? Because that's what I'm concerned about right
There are
now.
a lot of grifters out there. I will tell you that for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, just think of that scenario. The scenario that the guy laid out is very interesting. Jared Kushner has got a fund, $6 billion into that fund, 99% of it coming from countries in the Middle East that want the war with Iran to continue. At the same time, Donald Trump has said Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are to do the negotiations.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. It's not good. And you Donald Trump supporters will ignore it. That's what scares me is Donald Trump everything is for a reason, according to them,
We
right?
definitely shouldn't ignore these things. We should just observe every little thing.
Also,
and whatever the outcome is, then we can really make a judgment. Like, okay, Trump was really wrong for this. Maybe there was like he was compromised or something. I don't want to go that far yet. I just want to see.
We're kind of
this could turn out like this could end and somehow turn out well. But I don't know. I'm really not a fan of the Iran war though.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it myself. And I'll say this: if it were the Obama administration or the Biden administration, people would be up in arms. If Hunter Biden had a fund that had $6 billion in it at a time of war, and he was taking it from the people who didn't want to stop the war, at the same time negotiating to stop the war, people would say, no, we don't.
Have you seen him on X recently?
Who?
Hunter Biden.
No, has he been on X? I haven't paid
Yeah,
attention.
he's been on X. It's been hilarious.
Yeah, I just joined
They're
X
calling him the MAGA
the day
whisperer.
before his Candace interview. He joined X.
Really?
Yeah.
He's
Now they're
doing
pushing
something
for Hunter.
new. He's doing something new.
I
Yeah,
find
Hunter
Hunter
Biden
Biden funny.
2028 is what they're
Yeah,
saying.
he might be a dark horse in the 2028 race.
Yeah.
I still think he's funny. He's just
He was hilarious. He gets on there and someone made an AI image with him with a meth pipe in his mouth, and he goes,
I saw that.
Yeah, he said, "Oh man, this, this might be petty, but man, crack pipes don't have that little bowl at the end. That's a meth pipe. Can't you at least go and put a crack pipe in my mouth?" It was so funny. I was laughing.
You have to laugh at yourself when you're in that position.
Yeah, I was
He's
like,
kind of
hey, at
owning
least
it, to be honest.
yeah, he's embracing it. It's funny. He didn't deny anything on the Candace interview. I thought he did I think me and you talked about that, Rob. He did a good job of owning it.
I think he's likable. I think he's just a.
And that's honestly how you win. Like if people are just slinging insults at you and whatnot, be like, okay, I'm an extremist, whatever.
It's so funny you say that, Jake, because I keep saying that's the way these politicians should handle you, right? Because you usually are not on the offensive. Usually it's they come at you and then you bring the Mack truck out. You're like, okay, well now I'm going to get into the way you look. I'm going to get into everything. I'm going to fight with you. And I keep saying to these politicians, you have to have thick skin. You have to have it. I'm not a politician. When somebody comes after me on social media, I want to let them have it. But if I was a servant of the people, it might aggravate me because it's impugning my motives. But I'm not.
These politicians have very large, fragile egos. That's for sure. And when you don't agree with anything they do, it's like the end of the world. And it's actually yeah.
I agree with you. All right, Jake, Isaiah, have a great day, gentlemen. Great to see you, Jake. Good job, man. I really appreciate what you're doing. Isaiah, I guess we'll see you tomorrow morning. No, we'll see you Monday morning. At 9 a.m. We got to figure out if we'll send out a message if we do end up going to Washington, D.C. this Monday for the USS Liberty deal. What we're trying to do is we're going to get an interview with Thomas Massey out there on Monday if we can, because he's the one doing it. He's the one bringing in Phil Turney. So we got that whole group going out there. If that happens on June the 8th, and if Phil Turney's going, which is all we're trying to figure out now, if Phil's going. If Phil Turney from the USS Liberty goes to Washington, D.C. on Monday, Isaiah and I will be there. We'll get the interview. We'll track Massey down. We'll walk the halls of Congress. We'll get some footage for you.
If you want us to go, please donate. I added up. We have to buy about $600 worth of gear, I think, to go up there. Between microphones and things that we would need. We're going to get one of those handheld microphones, like you saw Allison Steinberg from Lindell TV have. We're going to get one of those so that we can walk the halls of Congress. And so,
does that attach to the phone, or what is that attached to? That kind of
both. It can attach to both. Yeah, it can attach to the phone and it can attach to the camera, which is nice. And so we'll probably be doing a lot of phone clips when we're walking the halls because I'll be able to edit them and get them out really quick. And so we can connect the microphone straight to the phone. We can record all these clips and get them out. So It's not a lot, $600. I think the microphones themselves are like $300, so that's half of that money. But we do have to spend about
your ticket's about $700. I looked at that yesterday.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that's just the gear, then tickets, and then we do have to eat 1 or 2 meals while we're there. So we'll try to fast. We will try to fast as much as we can, but I don't want Rob or I passing out in the halls of Congress because we're running around for 12 hours.
We'll figure it out somehow, some way.
Yeah. We may even do a short live stream, not a live stream like this, but we might even try to go just with our phone. I might even try to get us to go live on one of the channels to just get out there, maybe live on Facebook or something like that.
So look on all of the platforms. We'll put out information over the weekend, whether we're going to have a show Monday at 9 or whether we're going to be in Washington, D.C. All right, Isaiah.
Can we end with maybe a little bit of comic relief here? I think it's political comic relief here. So it's Mark Levin,
Mark Levin
here. Why would our State Department do this, Rob? Why would they do this? Huge disappointment from the Mossad commentary account, okay? U.S. rejects Somaliland's sovereignty after Israel recognizes it. The U.S. State Department has formally reaffirmed Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity, dealing a blow to Somaliland's push for international recognition. This comes after Israel's reportedly became the first country to recognize Somaliland, with growing Israeli interest in its strategic position near the Red Sea, Yemen, and the Bab al-Mandab Strait. And so Israel's mad about it. So Mark Levin's mad about it.
Of course.
Yeah. I thought you might get a kick out of that. The U.S. government said that we're not doing that. And so because the U.S. government said it, but Israel wanted it, Mark Levin is just up in arms. Man, can't believe it. Yeah.
And
I thought you might laugh at that a little bit. Might get a little chuckle.
Debbie asked, she said, we were talking about Byron McDonald's earlier. So one of our listeners says, if not Byron, who? Paul Renner and James Fishback are the two that we're looking at. Those are the two that
Paul Renner. This is what I'll say. Paul Renner's got the most qualifications, and I wish he would be the guy. He just doesn't have the support for some reason, or he's not. I don't know. He's not getting his name recognition like he should be.
Yeah, I don't think he is spending a lot of money yet, and that might be why a lot of guys hold that money till the very end. But you're right. He was former Speaker of the House. I've been to his event. I got to meet him recently.
All of his positions are the same as James Fishback, but he actually has experience. Nothing against James Fishback, but
James is the better communicator, and Paul Renner has got better experience. And if you could combine the two, we'd be in business. But that's what's going on.
That's what someone said. Hey, maybe a Renner, Fishback, governor, lieutenant governor kind of ticket.
Be kind of nice.
Yeah, that's what people want.
I'd like it. I want to get rid of the. We got high insurance and high property tax down here, so it needs to change. All right,
I remember that. I was like, oh my gosh, my car insurance is like.
The insurance is really high. Car insurance down here is insane. Isaiah, have a great weekend. I will talk to you again soon. We'll see everybody Monday morning at 9 a.m. one way or another.
Follow us on X. Follow Rob on Facebook to stay up to date.
And we'll see you Monday.
See you guys.